本当？見えないでしょ？どこにいるのかな？見えないよ。What's good, Internet? It is Friday, December 13th, and you are listening to Waypoint Radio, episode 285. I am your host, Austin Walker, and joining me here in the studio, Ricardo Contreras. Looking good, looking like ready for the weekend. How are you feeling? You're looking like all right, I can get through this. I can feel the strength in your aura. I can feel it. I think we're all at right now this weekend, especially Patrick Klepek on the call.
Thanksgiving being so late just makes it's like a long, sloggy sprint towards the holiday break.
I love a sloggy sprint. That's one of the moves in what's the fucking Fitbit. That's Ring Fit.
Ring Fit Adventure.
That's, yeah, you do a sloggy sprint.
Ring Adventure.
Yeah, that's it. Rob Zachney, I hope feeling better today than on Monday. You feeling all right, bud?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Awesome.
Nice.
Good.
Just fantastic. Feeling better than I have in ages. Yeah, life is good.
I feel like I'm waiting for the drop.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why does it sound like there's something lurking?
No, you're being sincere.
Nothing's lurking anymore, Cado. That's the point. That's why things are so good.
Good. I'm glad that nothing is lurking, except for video games and that we've played in our lives.
Games.
Actually, I still do feel like there are still, even as I slowly make progress through games I'm trying to wrap up before I write my list, which I need to fucking do, there feels like I'm surrounded by the games I haven't played yet this year. I just heard Pathologic 2 got added to Game Pass on PC,
Oh, shit.
which feels like an indictment of me on not having played the sequel to a game I like a lot.
I'm glad that but that's like the precise
Yes.
game that would have benefited from being on Game Pass at launch.
To begin with, yeah,
it's
definitely.
a game that requires a risk on the part of the player to, like, it's purposely different. And games like that are like specifically the types of games that, I don't know how the money works on Game Pass. That's still sort of like an unanswered question because those NDAs are locked down pretty hard. But hopefully it finds an audience.
I hope so.
It can't find less of an audience. There's only like going up with Pathologic 2, but
Yeah, that seemed like a pretty sad story in terms of how that game was received and the audience it didn't find and stuff like that. So, again, on the list for this year, at this point, I have to admit it probably won't make it before I have to write my list. That's just the truth.
I got to find torrents to figure out to play one of the games I need to play.
You're trying to play some Devotion, right?
Yeah. Because it's like a lot of folks I trust not just like that game, but it's like a game of the year, and it's like, okay, like I've just thrown out the window at this point that I'm going to play like a Death Stranding or anything that's like meaningfully long, and instead it's, all right, in the next week and a half, what can I actually do? It's like, well, I could play like 3 or 4 like 3 to 5 hour games and see if those sneak onto my list, and Devotion feels like one of those games that, I'd end up playing in April next year and going, shit, should have played this back in December. So I'm going to make a good faith effort, or I guess a bad faith effort. There's no good faith way to play that game.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I feel, well, it's difficult, right? I guess like for me, the good faith way at this point is to buy their other stuff or like buy a gift copy of their other stuff. Toss them money, find that game the way you can find it. It sucks that it's just like not available anywhere for purchase. I don't know. It's a cool game. But yeah, I think that's otherwise everything else I've talked about in terms of trying to get off my plate, I've gotten off my plate, including now Mechwarrior 5 Mercenaries. The big one. That's the subtitle. It's Mechwarrior 5 Mercenaries, and in parentheses, which you don't see in titles very often. The big one. And I guess like I'm joking, but I'm only half joking because it's been 17 years since a Mechwarrior game, since a single player Mechwarrior campaign. There's been Mechwarrior Online. There was Mechwarrior Living Legends, which was a fan game that ran on the Crysis engine and was actually pretty fucking cool.
I was meant to play that. That thing always looked exceptional.
It was really fucking good, Rob. I played it a lot in the early 2010s, like right after I had to move home because I couldn't make rent anymore. after the first time I moved out of home and before I decided to go deeper into debt to go to grad school.
That Merc life, baby.
I was living that Merc life. In that little window, let me tell you, I played me a lot of Mechwarrior Living Legends. But Mechwarrior 5 Mercenaries comes from Piranha Games, which is the same studio that makes Mechwarrior Online, which is a very good... Like the bones of Mechwarrior Online are really good. I think some of the monetization decisions were rough. It definitely became a thing where it was easy to hurl allegations of pay to win because for reasons we've talked about with the setting before, Rob, which is like clan mechs are good and you can just make mechs in this world that are really good and put them behind you can just like buy a very expensive mech with real money and be like, yo, fuck you, I got a good one. And good tactics and teamwork can still win that fight, but it's like it becomes exceedingly difficult eventually. Anyway, that team, Piranha Games, decided to make Mechwarrior 5 Mercenaries, and the Mercenaries subtitle, even though the original Mercenaries was Mechwarrior 2 Mercenaries, and there then were Mercenaries updates for I think both 3 and 4. Maybe it was 4.
I don't think 3 had a Mercenaries.
No, it definitely did. I'm pretty sure. I'm 90% sure. Maybe I'm wrong.
I remember there was one that had good mech feel, but I was disappointed.
Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
To me, I'm all about like if I'm not running a small business alongside a small mercenary company, I'm just not into it. You're right. 3 was just 3. 4 had 4 Vengeance and Mercenaries. The Mercenaries subtitle historically meant what Rob just said, which was you're a small business owner. You are operating a mercenary company, which means that there are, instead of just being a linear campaign where there's like 25 missions, lined up one to the next, there are kind of randomly generated missions, a string of those that you can do. I guess the original Mechwarrior 2 Mercenaries actually just had like a bunch of kind of skirmishes and I don't think that they were proc gen, but they were just like a bunch of different like micro campaigns that you could go on and kind of do missions for different companies, try to keep your bottom line intact, keep your people alive and paid. And if you listen to us talk about BattleTech, which is set in the same universe, that's a huge part of last year's BattleTech from Harebrained Schemes. And Piranha Games being like, we're going to make a Mercenaries Mechwarrior game, to me is like, okay, you understand what first drew me into this franchise was what Rob just said, this combination of I'm a mech pilot, but also I am a manager. I am like trying to keep it's like a business sim in some points. And also obviously part of that business sim is like repairing your mechs, keeping your shit working. And so high expectations. It's the big one. It's gonna have high. I'm gonna have high expectations. It's gonna be a thing that is like yes. What's hopes. Up? High hopes.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to make sure you didn't have anything else to add there. No, that was okay.
So in this game, you're actually a consultant, and you just go around the inner sphere,
right?
Making some difficult cuts.
Yeah, You're really just trying to increase
local
efficiency.
Services and infrastructure.
Mayor Pete is gonna really help things for the Draconis Combine. I think the Draconis Combine has seen some losses recently, some inefficiencies, some redundancies, and Mayor Pete is gonna figure out how to reduce those redundancies, but not all of them, because some redundancy is good. Anyway, Mechwarrior 5 is a mixed bag for me. As someone who has like such investment in this series, who like some of my fondest childhood memories are going to Mechwarrior centers and like sitting in a big like plastic pod that looks like a mech cockpit. And
excuse me?
I've told this story. You've seen these. Have you not seen a battle pod before?
Cado,
no.
Have you listened to this podcast before?
I've told this.
Did you listen to Waypoint Radio before you started producing it?
Do you listen to it while you've produced it?
Yes.
Are you sure?
I mean,
if I show you a battle pod, you're not going to be like, oh yeah, those battle pods.
No. Maybe you've mentioned this and I just like didn't have the wherewithal to ask, wait, what is a battle pod? Because I don't know what a battle pod is.
I've linked you a picture of a battle pod.
Okay, thank you.
I'll link you the inside of a battle pod. It is a kind of like oval, like ovoid. Is that the word I'm looking for? Pod that you sit in, and that inside there's
what the fuck?
it's like, a Steel Battalion controller?
Yeah.
What if you could be inside of one?
Holy shit.
There's a billion buttons and pedals and joysticks and throttles.
Okay, now, but do those all do something?
Some of them do.
Okay.
I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've been in one.
Because that's a lot of fucking buttons.
It is.
I think a surprising number of them do.
Yeah, because there's a lot to do in Mechwarrior. Like, it's a vehicle sim.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not just a first-person shooter, right? You're which I guess I should slow down and talk about this a little bit.
Can you use the Steel Battalion controller in Mechwarrior 5?
Dog, you can barely use a HOTAS in Mechwarrior 5 right now. It's still...
They sent patch notes out that they were like, hey... joystick support is really tough under Unreal. And I was like, I don't like where this is going. And then they're like, but we have added support for, and they list a bunch of joysticks, none of which is mine. They listed, I think, the old Cytec X52, which is that really sci-fi looking one that appears in like every TV show. It's like
the one that's like,
the
this
Wilhelm
is a video,
scream of props. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
they want to get
don't list the Cytec X55 Rhino, which is modeled after the A10 throttle and stick, and just feels fan-fucking-tastic.
Ooh,
God, I love that
looks
thing.
good. Yeah, I like the look of that.
It's good, Austin. It has a weight.
Okay,
Like, that throttle has resistance.
I don't want to buy a POTAS. I don't. These are expensive,
Wait.
but also they're really cool looking.
POTAS?
A HOTAS.
Okay, I thought you said POTAS.
He said POTAS. Don't worry about it, Cado.
Sorry. I mean, I'm not involved in any scandals. You can't prove anything. I'm not trying to buy a president. But if I were, you can believe it would be a good president. Not a bad one who's shitty. So Mechwarrior is, and also Cado, you just have to let me talk to you about BattleTech centers after they were done, because they were dope. Mechwarrior is and always has been a kind of a vehicular combat sim, which is to say, unlike something like Twisted Metal, also a vehicular combat game, but one where you're just like, I'm just driving around shooting stuff. What the fuck? What's the fucking deal? This is a game where you have to do things like care about whether or not your mech overheats, group your weapons together in different firing groups so that you have like, okay, when I hit button 1, I'm going to fire all of the medium lasers in my chest, but not the ones on my arms, because those ones I can aim independently and get better shots because the ones in my torso can't articulate in different directions. Rob is literally looking up in the sky in the like towards an imagined distance and nodding with a smile because of how good this shit is. You have to. I said the word torso twist, right? You're a humanoid mech, and that means that you can twist at the torso, which means you can move in one direction while turning and aiming in a different direction. Long before I was doing drive-bys in Grand Theft Auto, I understood how to move quickly past one direction and shoot in the other. So, really life lessons is what I was learning from Mechwarrior.
Wow.
There's a billion other things. Understanding your enemies, like parts break off, like in BattleTech, the tactics game from last year. You can focus your fire on an enemy's leg to knock out their mech's leg, or to make them kind of have to limp around. If you knock out both of their legs, they're dead in the water and they're knocked out. If you knock off their arm, it means that they can't use the weapons on that arm. Stuff like that ends up being the kind of like blood and soul of this game.
I just have to interject one quick thing
Please.
here, Cado, for context.
Yeah.
The drive-by analogy is not a totally misplaced one in the BattleTech world. When the clans show up with their honorable, warlike traditions to fight the Inner Sphere, the Inner Sphere tries to meet them in open field combat, like conventional army. But they're so outclassed by the clans that what it takes is some Yakuza from the Draconis Combine to teach like the members of the Combine military how to fight the clans using gangster tactics from these streets.
That's right.
And the clans are like unable to handle it. And they're like, shit, I hate this. And then they start committing war crimes.
Okay.
And then the Inner Sphere is like, we got to do something about these clans.
Yeah, I remember
using
this.
even more
Mercenary
guerrilla
war.
tactics from these streets.
We really got to adopt the drive-by doctrine immediately.
But then it
The
turns
Karina-
out the telecom pope of Comstar. Yes. The
Please.
Pope of Comstar is like, I have a secret army. And that handles the whole clan's problem. But the first thing that really stalls the clan advance is drive-bys and hits.
Comstar is so fucking cool. the setting is
the battle
so dope.
to Cado, just something. If somebody just made a Mechwarrior to Cado game, like,
that'd be good. If they just did just focused anyway. So all of that is like the blood of this game. It is a first-person vehicular combat game where you're piloting light to super heavy mechs, running around these various biomes, these different levels, shooting other mechs, right? In that way, when in that particular aspect of the game, it is pitch perfect. Or in any individual moment inside of that aspect, it is pitch perfect. Like when I'm coming up over a ridge and I'm looking down and seeing a city, and my mission is to literally destroy that city, and like me and my lance of other mechs just launch a huge volley of LRMs that go flying into the buildings, and all of like the steel and concrete comes flying off as the whole city is bombarded, and then I see a catapult come out, and a catapult in a sense is kind of a heavy mech, not an actual catapult, but it serves the same purpose as a catapult because it has two LRM 15s, one on each shoulder, which are kind of like long range missile launchers,
right?
And they can just it can bombard back. But if I close the distance quickly, I can get within its minimum range, and then there's no telling what I'll do. There is telling. What I'm going to do is core it. I'm going to blow the fuck out of that thing. Or actually, what I'm going to try to do is shoot it in the cockpit or the legs so that I can potentially salvage it and turn it into my mech.
I had a question about targeting in this game because it's first person. I assume if you're playing on it's mouse and keyboard.
I've been playing mouse and keyboard.
It seems like you could core anything.
So coring is in fact
that's doing it the hard way round.
Exactly, because there's so much armor on the core.
Gotcha.
You can hit the core all day, but it's going to take you a lot of ammo to break through it. Yeah.
If I could, Cado, I think it's almost FPS is not quite the right way to regard
it's not.
this. Yes, you are in a humanoid body, but
it's a flight sim.
The thing that
right?
Austin is talking about. Pardon?
It's like a flight sim or a tank sim more.
Yeah. And so the things that are really limiting you is the standard BattleTech stuff that we've already talked about in previous shows about heat management.
Right.
So you have to hit the center torso to core something so many times that in the cycle time of those weapons, in the heat you're going to produce as that comes in, it becomes a really inefficient way to bring someone down a bit. Now, this is where the FPS analogy holds. That's like body shots in a shooter versus landing headshots in some ways.
Yeah.
That's really where the money is.
Yeah. But it's hard to get consistent headshots in a game where things are actually literally moving around nonstop, right?
And it's not like click. I've only ever barely touched this type of game before, and it always felt like there's a moment of you hit it and then the lasers go. I mean, maybe it's just depends on which one of these I played. But
different weapons do have different weapon speeds.
Yeah.
So the heaviest hitting stuff tends to have travel time. You're gonna fire a laser at someone, that laser's pretty instant.
Right.
But something like a PPC, which is kind of a heavy energy blast, or even an autocannon, there's a degree of lead time that you need to associate, or you need to anticipate.
Right.
The point is that part of this game is great in terms of just mechs slamming into mechs slamming into buildings is the secret selling point of this game. There's a lot of walking. I noticed in my review that there's kind of an NPC associated with every settlement or facility you go to, and you get a lot of missions to go either destroy a few radar towers or comms towers, or straight up go destroy this city or this military fortress or whatever. And there are a lot of missions where someone is like, that's our business center. We need that. As you just hurl literally 70 tons of metal through some office park. Yeah, exactly.
Meetings room A through Z.
I will say sometimes they say that's a residential tower, and you feel a little bad. Because why are you doing that? Don't do that for money. But those checks cleared, and you are an amoral mercenary captain. So
life is cheap.
Life is cheap. Save the metal, right? The stuff that doesn't work for me as well is the stuff that we started talking about at the top, which is the mercenary the life of the Mercenaries stuff. If you played BattleTech, you know that one, that's a very flavorful aspect of that game.
Yeah.
Because your crew is always getting up to shit. You're always like getting an event where some motherfucker decides that today is the day that they want to pull the armor plating off their bedroom and try to put it on their mech. And then you get a choice as their captain to be like, yeah, go ahead, put your fucking walls on your mech, I guess. Or like, no, you can't do that. Sit the fuck down. We have engineers.
Austin, you know what I realized the other day?
What's that?
There's this event in BattleTech that I've seen 3 or 4 times. Pops up fairly regularly about the ship is running out of coffee. And you find 2 of your crewmen arguing over the last cup of coffee in the commissary.
Yeah.
And you have to decide who gets it. The third option is to brush past both of them and take the coffee.
Yes.
I do not know any other I do not know how the other resolutions go if you do this, if you encounter this event. The only thing I've ever done without meaning to, it occurred to me the last time where I was like, wait, I've never seen this resolve any other way. And it's self-defeating. Your entire crew gets low spirits if you take the coffee.
Of course, because you're an asshole. You've never taken
And yet, the brand, it's strong.
The brand is strong. Oh my god. So Mechwarrior 5 does not have events like that. You certainly have a lance. You have a kind of squad of mech pilots that you can hire from kind of procedurally generated lists in certain parts of the map. When you go to an industrial hub, you can hire pilots. But they don't have character outside of some lines that they say in missions that are pulled from a kind of bag of lines. There is a story, but it is dry. It is like, to the degree that I wish I didn't even I wish my main character didn't have a voice. Because what they've given me is like 2011 gruff white dude named Captain Mason who's out for revenge, and especially coming off of BattleTech, where I ended up feeling really strongly about my character, despite the fact that they didn't ever have a voice, because they had such good visual design, because there were like so many ways to make it feel like me, or the character I was trying to play, and because they were surrounded by so many great cast members.
The thing you lay out at the start of your review about I swear to God, this setup has been used at least in Mech 4 Mercenaries, but it's been used multiple times before. This notion of you're like a member of a semi-notable family that no one's ever heard of in the lore, and one day bad shit just rolls into town, kills your whole family, leaves you with some mechs, and it's time to go get justice. Mechwarrior style. That is the setup for that is your archetypal mech game story. It's also kind of the archetypal this is your first BattleTech Mechwarrior combo RPG session you're running. That's that's a standard story.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, right? It is, and I think the problem is if this game had come out before BattleTech, I'd be like, all right, cool. But even BattleTech, which has a very similar setup, it's not your family. It's not your immediate family that gets hurt and killed. It's kind of an extended foster father figure instead of your actual father figure. And then they do a good job of tying it into larger political schemes and questions about inheritance and blah, blah, blah. This just doesn't do any of that. This is just they're called the Black Inferno Squad and they're beating up farmers.
Ooh.
And then you get a farmer with a frontier voice.
It sounds really cool.
Yeah, but you don't ever get to fucking talk to them. Instead, you have a CO or not a CO, I guess she's your XO, who is vaguely space British and tells you that you have opportunities to go make money. And then sometimes Adam Jensen from Deus Ex calls you, and he's like, these Black Inferno motherfuckers, they're no good. That was actually a little more Duke Nukem. I didn't mean to do Duke Nukem. Duke Nukem is not Adam Jensen. But that is basically what it is. It is literally that voice actor. It is the dude who played Adam Jensen in the new Deus Ex games. And sending you recorded messages, never talking to anyone, just being like, here's another message for you, Commander. Black Inferno showed up in another galactic choke point and they fucked up a whole bunch of people. It seems no good. Anyway, if you can help my factories in this sector profit, then I'll give you another clue about where you can find Black Inferno next. I don't trust him at all. He's a...
Press 7 to delete.
Yeah, exactly. And so the way the game is structured is you do a bunch of missions that are proc gen that take you to maps that are either... I think that the maps are also procedurally generated. They have that look. You can see where the tiles are fitted together. But I guess theoretically they could have been made in a map maker and then put in a big bucket of maps that get pulled randomly. I don't know. And you do random missions, and you do enough of those to raise your reputation. That then you get another story mission when your reputation levels up. Basically,
it's just one like reputation thing.
There's a reputation bar that like levels up. It's like an experience bar, basically.
But it's like because you had different kind of like levels of reputation in BattleTech.
Oh, that also exists. There is like overall mercenary reputation, and then there is also relationship with the different the 5 different major houses. Yeah. And those I think you can game them. I think you could play this game and end up with a map with heroic status with every single house. Because I guess what you'd end up with is a really low reputation.
Even Jamie Wolf couldn't do that.
Well, the thing is you would end up with a really low pirate or, mercenary or whatever rep, because whoever you're fighting against, their rep gets lower. But you could just take missions against pirates. You could stick around like the areas where mostly it's insurgents and pirates. But also killing insurgents all day fucking sucks because I did get a mission a couple days ago. Feels like weeks. This week. About for House Liao, who are kind of statists who have been drawn in when they were first created in the 80s, lots of like Chinese stereotype, lots of like...
Well, they're very much all anxiety about Maoism, particularly in light of the Cultural Revolution.
Yes.
So the initial portrait of Lao was that it was a once great nation that was destroyed by... almost pathological collectivism combined with a suspicion of intelligentsia, and anyone who does like cool shit, they just kill them all.
And so I was hired to go kill people who were doing. Literally, I was hired by this. I think I want to note in this note. The only reason I interrupt you here is because you and I could talk about BattleTech lore literally all day, which would be great. I shouldn't have stopped you. We should have just kept going. Yeah. But in contrast,
Patrick just disappears. His window goes dark.
I think he just like does like the peace meme disappearing, the invisible. Also,
can I turn transparent? Is there's like a transparent slider on Discord video chat? And it's like bye.
I gotta go. I will say, if even Patrick has heard us talk about how good the story and atmosphere of BattleTech is, even Patrick knows that.
Even Eli knows how good BattleTech is.
Yeah. Thank you, Rob. We're linked up on this. Shout out to Sean Elliott, who, by the way, is working on the new BioShock game, a thing we learned this week, which that's interesting. Sean Elliott worked on Prey.
I thought we were talking about Eli Manning for
different
a second.
Even Eli. Speaking of Eli Manning.
116.
Yeah.
Losing record.
Anyway, wow, that's a dense 25 seconds of deep, like, you have to really follow us to know anything we just said, and also have to have listened to a podcast that came out 17 years ago. I know, it's a mess. I love you all for listening. What the fuck was I talking? Oh, so...
So jobs. You take them.
I took them. I quashed a revolution. I quashed a hero of a revolution for House Lao. And what I was saying was, if you've heard us talk about BattleTech before, I've said the story there is great. The atmosphere is good there. And Rob, one of the things you pointed out when you first reviewed that game was there is stuff in the 1980s like setting that maybe doesn't hold up to scrutiny, to today's kind of norms and kind of cultural sensitivities. That was a setting that was very much made by a bunch of people looking at a map of like tropes and 80s action movie things and going, you know what's fucking cool? Samurai. Samurai are fucking dope. What if it was set in the year, in the 31st century, but also samurai had come back and an entire culture? What if Japan had become the Draconis Combine, like a dragon, Draconis, and then also they had the code of Bushido and they never liked to lose Giri, which means face, but I can't say face, I have to say Giri.
Honestly surprised they never had any sort of like laser katanas.
This setting wouldn't allow for it.
Yeah.
Right? They might have like a monofilament katana or like a an energy
So they did have ninja who wore like all like face covering like cyber visors.
Yeah.
So they did have that.
Yes. Do you mean the Draconis Elite Strike Teams? Anyway.
The Nekakami?
Is that? Yes, thank you. Thank you. Fuck. So this game, BattleTech did a great job of updating that stuff or making it feel like it was part of the world. Mechwarrior 5 does not so much do that, or like it doesn't make it seem as if like people believe this, but the truth is more complicated. Like I've straight up gotten missions from the Draconis Combine about upholding the code of Bushido. And like, I get that there is an audience for which it's like, I want that shit. I want that shit from 1985, pump it into my fucking veins. I'm not really that audience. Or like, I just so enjoyed seeing how BattleTech did it to the degree that it's like a foregone conclusion at this point that I feel comfortable while playing BattleTech, or not just comfortable, but I feel like good about the story and the world. It got me excited about a world I'd written off and moved past, even though I'd read some of those books when I was a teenager and loved them. I was like, I guess I'm never going back to that world. But like, no, I absolutely am. I can't wait to see what more people do with it. And then this is just like, it just doesn't do anything with it. And when it shows up, it's like sketches from the most basic version of this world. It's not offensive. It's rarely offensive, let's say. But it is also just not moving in any way. And maybe most importantly, once you get into these missions, one, there's a degree of repetition because there's only 5 basic mission types besides the story missions. And that's just going to happen. Those 5 mission types are like destroying a facility, or kind of like a demolition thing, a raid where you're going in to destroy like a particular part of a base or a location. A defense mission where it's like, hang out here and fight, 17 people as they try to attack this base and try to keep the base from getting destroyed, the opposite of the destructive mission. And there's like a health bar for the base, basically, that decreases as the enemies blow through it. And then a raid, or a war zone, rather, which is like the same thing about defending a place, but you don't need to actually defend it. You just need to, it's a wave-based survival. It's like a horde mode mission, and you get extra payout the more like mechs you kill. You have to kill, let's say, 21, but everything after 21 is extra income for you and potentially extra salvage. And then there's a 5th one, which is assassination, where you have to locate and kill like a named NPC.
21 is a lot of mechs.
Dude, so 21 units. So it's spread between ground like tanks, aerotech fighters like planes, or not planes actually, sorry. It's just helicopters and VTOLs. I guess the VTOLs are kind of planes. And mechs. But you will fight dozens of mechs in these missions, which is one of my biggest problems is like, the difficulty slider is basically a number slider. Like the way that they understand a powerful or difficult mission is, let's throw more enemies at you. Let's throw bigger enemies at you. And that's certainly a way to do difficulty, but my favorite fights in anything Mechwarrior, including Mechwarrior Online, this team's previous game, is like a pretty evenly matched fight where enemies are acting smartly. And obviously with Mechwarrior Online, that is an easy thing to do because it's just other players who know how to play this game.
Right.
And also, I haven't gone back to play Mechwarriors 2, 3, or 4. This could be rose-colored glasses. You know what I mean? Maybe I was just bad at that game. But so many of the fights in this game turn into scrums where you're like, everyone is mixed together. There aren't necessarily clear battle lines. There's not really like the sort of, it doesn't engender the sort of interesting vehicular combat that the systems are set up for.
Right.
But when it works, and it does work sometimes, it is incredible. Like, I had a mission the other day that I was telling Rob about where I had to protect this little town underneath a ridge in a kind of a winter biome. This kind of like snowy mountainous region, and it was like a long plain. Like imagine like 5 football fields, right? Because it was like 500, actually, imagine 1,000 football fields. Like it was like a kilometer in distance on either side of it. And then about 500 meters kind of horizontally. It was like tucked on the side. Like imagine like the 50-yard line of the space I'm talking about. It was like off to the side, up against the sideline. And at that sideline was a ridge that went right over it. Like just above it, which gave me like a little, like nice little protective vibes. Like, it was almost like I was a shield above it. And I had a mountain to my back, so I knew nothing was coming from that direction. But enemies were coming in from either end of that football field, basically, or across the field from me, where there was a forest, and they were getting like drop shipped in there and trying to move through the forest to the city. And my whole team was outfitted with like some pretty good long distance weapons. And so it was a lot of like trying to snipe through the woods, trying to like hit them through the snow in the distance as they were approaching. And some of these things had huge kind of close up like mech shotguns. It's like, if they get within range, we are fucked. Like, and there's so many of them in this case where it's like not a shooting gallery, but it was like a really great hold the line, like Seven Samurai style mission that, you know, lasted 12 minutes, but was a really strong 12 minutes. And in this case was 12 minutes in a set of like 3 or 4 hours of really good missions. The proc gen just worked. Like it put me in situations that were good. The enemy AI seemed to be stronger in those missions, and I didn't hit any of the bugs that normally fuck this up. And then like immediately after this like 3 hour long, like, wow, maybe I was wrong about this game sprint, I then got a Warzone mission where I had to fight like 35 mechs or 30 mechs or something, or enemies rather. And then it includes the worst bug in this game, which is sometimes enemies don't land by dropship across the way and a little copse of trees. Sometimes they just teleport in, they spawn in immediately behind you. And it sucks. What? It's like, I don't know. Listen, I guess joysticks are hard in Unreal. I don't know if spawning is hard in Unreal too, but in a game that is so much about material weight, about like heavy machines, about like, tactics, territorial tactics about the geography of the space, having an 80-ton mech just suddenly appear where you are weakest without even like the sound effect. It's not even like it goes like, we're dropping a ship, we're dropping a mech behind you, pretend it's okay, bye. It just instantly is there, and like my back is lit up by a salvo of like heavy cannon fire. And it's like, how did you fuck this one? This is the thing you cannot fuck up here. If you're going to throw endless mechs at me to fight, you have to at least make them feel like they're appearing, because the game is still hard when it wants to be, if you're not managing a situation well. Like, if someone is behind you with a shotgun, you're going to get fucked up. I don't care how much armor you have. You probably just don't have it on the back of your mech, because that's not where you're supposed to get shot. And like that stuff sucks so bad, and it sucks so much joy out of the game. Fixing that one bug would have improved my time with this game immeasurably, but it happens every third mission or something like that.
Have they called it a bug?
I don't think so.
Like, is it a bug, or is it just that they're spawning things and it doesn't make sense?
It might be that the spawning, like, I'm calling it a bug. What I really mean is the spawning is bad.
Yeah.
It's like playing a first-person shooter, like a multiplayer FPS game where someone spawns behind you.
Right.
Except you're playing a single-player game, and you're playing a single-player game where someone spawning behind you could make you lose a weapon you really love permanently. Right. Because if you lose a weapon in this game, it's gone. Like, maybe you can replace it with an equal thing, but there's definitely weapons I've had. Like, I got a mech pretty early on, Rob, that had pulse lasers, which are like mid to late game type things. They're like powerful lasers that pulse and do extra damage.
So you see, Cado, the issue with traditional beam laser weapons is that the vapor and steam they generate as they make impact begins to dissipate the power of the beam. But pulse lasers are timed to let that clear between shots, and so all the energy of the laser is done to the target. Yeah, it's a brilliant piece of Lost Tech.
Patrick falling back in his chair. Love it. It's out of focus like an indie film. I love it. He's waving goodbye. So that is a thing. Go ahead.
So a couple of like points of clarification.
Yes.
You're part of a lance.
Yes.
Do you have AI? Are the AI
on
your mission?
You can have up to 3 other AI with you, which is weird when you're fighting. Sometimes up to 30 other enemies.
Right.
You know what I mean? Never at once, but throughout the way it tends to work is like what it reminds me of is XCOM, where in XCOM where it's like, oh, there will be a pod of enemies that get activated. Here, instead of activating them sometimes on some maps, like the ones where you're trying to hunt down a specific NPC to kill, you have to go to different points on the map, and it is if the enemies spawn in when you get there. Maybe they're there already, but once they know where you are, they're going to fight you to the death. They are not going to like leave you alone, and so you can absolutely run around these maps and just like get 10 different mechs chasing you around, which can and will lead to a crash. I've learned, unfortunately. Again, I've definitely hard crashed 3 or 4 times in this game over around 25 hours. So, 2.
Other question regarding that then, are there any interactions with those AI? Like,
there are basic commands. You can tell either all of them or any individual one to follow you, like form up on you, to not use weapons if you want them to not use weapons, which I've never seen a situation where that's particularly useful, or to attack your target, or to go to a location. So there have been times I've been like, all right, you 2 close-up brawler type mechs, hold this choke point. Just sit here in the middle of the city. I really like the urban fights in this game, by the way. They're so claustrophobic. Being in a big mech that's like your shoulders are literally rubbing up against 2 different skyscrapers is very cool. But yeah, you can like, hey, hang out here. If enemies show up here, you'll see them. Or I've done the thing where like it's a defense mission. I put 1 person on each side of a city just so that like our radar will see enemies as soon as they come in, because otherwise they just won't. But dog, I've had like defense missions where I'm in a city I'm supposed to defend, and the first 3 waves, the enemies are coming from the west over, some hill or whatever. And then suddenly another lance will appear, and those appear in the middle of the city as if they were hidden here all along. And if there was a bit of dialogue that was like, I guess they were hidden here all along, I would at least be like, cool, you hand waved your broken spawn system.
Right.
But it's not. It's just like suddenly 80 tons has been on this avenue that you've been walking back and forth for the whole mission so far. It's so frustrating. But yeah, you can do those basic commands. Past Mechwarrior games have gone, like, you used to be able to be like, go in this formation. You can't do that here. I would love to be able to have like my close-up mechs in front of me while I moved or something like that, but that is not the case.
Do the pilots have stuff?
Yeah.
The way that they do in BattleTech? Like,
they have basic stats.
Yeah.
They basically have like, how good are they with lasers? How good are they with bullets? How good are they with missiles? And then they have how fast are they? And then 2 kind of like, I mean, like, this is the stuff that all these next 3 are actually all kind of goofy. How much damage do they do? What is their defensive characteristic? And then like, what is their how fast do they move? They basically have like a speed, defense, and damage skills. And like, I don't know why. I don't mind it. The truth is, I don't mind it, but in fiction, it's hard to understand why you pulling the trigger on a gun would do more damage than me pulling a trigger on a gun. Right. It's a gun. Do you know what I mean?
Sure. I mean, you can see the seams between where armor was welded. And
that is it. It's easy to. The thing is, it's easy to buy that in BattleTech, where it is not a physics simulation.
Right.
Here, it's like okay.
Or like, well, their accuracy was more like, wasn't it more like the things that are spread will like cluster
something like
things
that.
like that, where like it's less like.
I don't mind
per
it.
Damage.
The thing that I like about it is that you can have a character. The characters have different maximum skill potentials, so you can hire someone who has like a maximum of 30 points between all these things, and yet maybe is terrible at missiles. They have like 1 point in missiles, and that's the maximum they can get. And it's like, all right, Captain Butts, you're just never gonna be my missile person. Sorry. Also, rip to Captain Butts, who died on me a couple nights ago. I didn't name Captain, but poor one out.
Yeah, when you were mentioning earlier the like lack of kind of story of events, the way that BattleTech has, I was like, well, what about the XCOM model where like as you like gain pilots, even if there aren't interactions with them, like can you still form that sort of like, like there's stories you tell about so and so
very lightly because there's not. It's rare. you're not doing unique things in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think about something like XCOM, where you're like, or BattleTech, where it's like, we were fucked until Valravn saved us with those 3 shotgun blasts at the end of that mission. Low chances, but all of them hit. That doesn't if it happens, it's hard to notice,
right?
Because it's an action game. Because it's still like across the map, someone goes like, my kill went critical. I'm like, all right, I guess you killed someone and it went critical, so it blew up.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I saw the flashing light. That's cool. But it didn't feel like you saved the day, because in general, the verb you're doing is the same thing over and over again. There are different voice actors for there's probably, I want to say 20 different voice actors for your lance mates. And some of them have a great deal of character in terms of the way that they talk. Mm-hmm. And there's, in general, there's stuff that they say during combat. There's always one thing someone in your lance says when you first arrive on a planet, or if it's a beautiful autumnal valley, map of man, I'd love to get out of my mech and just walk around these beautiful woods. Or if you're on a sulfur planet, it's this stinks. This smells so bad. I hate this. Stuff like that, right? Yeah. And there's a lot of those, and each character seems to have a bunch of them per biome. And there's a little bit of character there, but it never feels like that was Captain Butts talking. Right. It just feels like that was a voice actor who's adding a little flavor.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah.
The thing I find alarming here is that if Austin Walker can't project personality and life into this game,
that's why I asked.
Then
who the fuck
I'm sitting there uh-oh.
Yeah, dude, it's not there. The character and personality comes from the mechs, it comes from the cities. Again, the character and personality, things like the farmer being our combine harvester or whatever. There's a little bit of character there. I will say that a thing that bugged me is the reliance on, they're just a frontier farmer doing their best, working for a mega corporation who they don't like very much. And there's a degree of self-knowledge in that, but there's a lot of the people on the frontier are just trying their best out there. That's whose frontier? We really got to know. What do you mean by the frontier?
Actually, the nature of BattleTech is that the frontier isn't really a thing that exists. It's not real.
Yeah.
Right. BattleTech is a fallen and collapsed nation state that's been plunged into a centuries-long civil war that carved out new national identities. But the idea of, this was terra incognita, and now we've got these farmers here tilling the land. No, everyone's the thing I find really compelling about the setting is that there's not just fucking homesteaders pulled straight from a western.
They are all over this game, Rob. They are all over this game. It is constant. It is exactly that sort of space western adjacent type shit. Or at least they're all over the first, let's say, 10 hours of this game. There's a lot of them in Davion territory, and then you get out of that, and then it switches to be a little more urban when you go into a different zone. You know what I mean? There's different. Yeah. There's kind of each. I don't even have enough time to get into all the other stuff around the structure of this game. I do recommend people go read the review, because I get into stuff around the economy that I don't have time to bring up here. But I don't think a lot of that stuff works. But the bones are.
Did you hear that, Patrick? If you want to know more, you can read Austin's review.
Yeah, thanks, Patrick. I know you're interested. I know you're just overwhelmed with questions and can't figure out which one to ask.
Yeah, I wouldn't know where to start, and I just figured we'll just have to do it offline.
Yeah, we can just. I'll get you caught up
on one time.
Yeah,
I don't want to.
You know what? I'll
distribute
start
it amongst the.
I'll send you a one sheet that can kind of get you caught up. Mm-hmm. And then from there, I have a lore Bible that I think would be a good second step. And then, you study that, we'll do some quizzes. And then maybe a little bit after that, I think maybe you'll be ready to play a game.
I have a better idea.
Oh, sure.
I think I know how to get everyone into this.
Yeah.
I will run a combination Mechwarrior BattleTech RPG campaign.
Great.
Rob, I would love that.
Great.
That would be great.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Patrick, would you like to be the intelligence officer for a lance of scrappy mercenaries?
Does that mean I stay behind?
Sometimes, but it does mean you have homework between sessions. You will have to I am going to give you stacks of fake intelligence data and blurry satellite imagery, and sometimes there will be lies on those, and you'll have to discern what little secrets I might be holding back for the party on the next mission.
What is the truth anyway? You know what I'm saying? Telling lies, BattleTech edition. I got a good way.
Damn it!
Here we go. Here's a good way to get us all caught up. Cado, can you bring this up? I just linked the opening to the 1990s BattleTech cartoon. I feel like this will be...
excuse me?
I think this will...
that's not good.
This is a thing that exists?
Help get everyone on the same page. This is...
Yeah, the Somerset Strikers, baby.
Can you...
Hold on. Yeah,
we're going to need to... This is from 1994. There were some dope toys. This game, or this show had some dope toys.
Oh, right. This is back in the era of like... Oh, hold on. Sorry.
We're going to have to wait. We're going to have to wait.
You can watch. You should wait.
I'm going to wait.
We're going to wait.
We'll just talk more about BattleTech and Mechwarrior.
I was going to... I actually legitimately had a couple other questions.
Please, go ahead.
Multiplayer?
There is co-op. I've not had a chance to play it yet.
Okay.
There's no matchmaking in the game. And the only people I know who had this game were Rob, who was here, and so couldn't play it.
Yeah.
And Charlie Hall from Polygon, who we only are just now making plans to try to play this game.
Okay.
But no competitive.
Can you do full 4-person lance?
I don't know. I believe so. But you can join someone else's campaign. You can be like, I'm going to be one of your other pilots.
Yeah.
I believe.
What if we did a really intense RP?
And we just like play out missions.
Right.
It wouldn't be good because the missions aren't good enough.
Damn.
I can say authentic things. Like
we can just RP.
I will slaughter these money grubbing Lyran bastards.
BattleTech? I mean, there has to be a BattleTech RPG.
Yeah, that was not a bit.
Okay.
Rob was not doing.
Yeah, it's called Mechwarrior.
It's called Mechwarrior.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So BattleTech was the tabletop like war game.
Yeah.
And then Mechwarrior was the role-playing system that, rather than just controlling the mech, you are the Mechwarrior in this. It's about the person. But Mechwarrior was a very like no surprise really. It was given that it was FASA that was making it, but it was also a sort of Shadowrun inflected RPG and imagining of the world. You didn't just have to be a Mechwarrior. You could be other memorable character archetypes from the BattleTech universe, like mech engineer, thief, assassin, commando.
Classic Mechwarrior shit.
Gotcha.
That is in its 5th edition now, and now I think they've dropped Mechwarrior from the title. It is now called BattleTech: A Time of War. I think the last one that came out was a few years ago now. 2009 was the last time Catalyst updated this.
So
I associate Mechwarrior with the action games and the Hero Clicks tabletop version that was Mechwarrior Dark Age. That was the only tabletop BattleTech I touched.
Fair.
Which
that
was the one that introduced me. That was the one that introduced me into the...
Was the Hero Clicksy...
Yeah, because somebody brought it to the D&D club one time. I was like, what the fuck is this? This is great. I have to measure things with a tape measure.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep. That thing seemed really cool.
Yeah, it was fun. It was also like, it was like fun and also really kind of easy because the way you kept track of stats was the little base, so like there was a lot of
I've heard great things about that click system.
Yeah.
In retrospect, I was the problem here.
Yeah.
I was like, they rolled it out as they tore up the chronology. They basically just they ended all their plot lines all at once, and they introduced the Dark Age setting.
Yeah.
Which was 30 years later. Somehow, all the plots that you just spent the last like 10 years being invested in were gone and no longer mattered. And at the time, this seemed improbable to me.
Like a soft reboot.
Yeah, I just couldn't imagine, like, how could the galaxy unite to defeat, like, the clan threat? And then in the space of 30 years, everything goes to shit, and they just, like, the worst fucking people in the galaxy somehow take it over, despite being just enormous pieces of shit on the margins. At the time, I was like, that's unrealistic. It is an unworthy foundation for the Dark Age setting.
But 30 novels later...
Yeah, Jordan Wiseman, always ahead of the curve.
I mean,
but also the system was like it took the Ameritrash BattleTech system and kind of threw it out the window. And like Cado, when you saying, "Oh, the BattleTech I played was really like easy and fast paced and kind of intuitive,"
couldn't be me.
I'm like, I was like, no, BattleTech is meant to be played with you frantically flipping between 12 different combat resolution tables.
Yeah, how many dice did you roll when missiles went off? Because let me tell you, it should be 1,000 dice.
No.
To see if components were hit, to see if each missile hit. And then
but instead, it was pretty much always 3D6, and then they just found different ways to combine them, like and modify the rolls.
That sounds like a fun time.
And also, I think I mentioned this before, is that and one of the things I would be interested in seeing in the next iteration or a future BattleTech game is the like ground troops and other vehicles being
I would
doing a group of that and mixed in with mechs, like having that scale and difference in power be really right. Like it feels like the mechs will just stomp everything, which they probably would, but I think it's about like numbers. And
I wonder if it's the opposite thing, which is that if you gave me some of the fucking tanks I have to fight in BattleTech, none of those missions would be difficult because I just wouldn't charge. I would simply not walk under the mechs that would step on me,
right?
Which is what their tanks do because they're not necessarily run well.
Yeah.
Do you think Patrick's ever coming back? Do you think it's just us now?
Yeah, no, he's
back.
gone.
I'm looking at him on this video.
I've been back
we
for a
don't
while.
have video.
I didn't click back to Discord.
Yeah. No, here's
I've got the fucking video full screen still.
Patrick didn't want to interrupt. He was wrapped.
I see.
Like I could just tell. See how big his eyes are?
No, I don't. Cado still has not.
Yeah. Oh wait, do you want to go
anyway,
back?
No,
we
should watch this video. Let's watch this video and then end the segment. This is the BattleTech opening on YouTube from the 1994 cartoon. 3, 2.
Wait.
No. What do you mean? Wait.
3, 2, 1, click. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, click.
This is the inner sphere. Thousands of planets colonized by humankind.
There it is. That's home.
But for the last 300 years, it has been consumed by savage wars. Until a new enemy appeared. Mysterious invaders known as the clans.
Motherfucker has knee. Yeah! CG!
Attacking every sector at once.
See, you thought it was a shitty children's cartoon? Bam. Cutting edge.
My home planet. Now in the spirit of the Star League, ancient
Damn.
reunited. And we're gonna take back our
fucking drop that beat. When that fucking, like, for real house music beat for a second there, that was good.
Yeah.
That's Tron. This is Tron.
Yeah, I love when we track the missile in.
Oh.
Now, every time they brought up this 3D, like, CG stuff, they would always be like, turn on image enhancement.
Oh, right. They would sell that, right? They would say, like...
Oh, why? Like the animation was suddenly going to change to 3D instead of just the
image enhancement.
It's image enhancement
because the perfectly legible cartoon was like just too chaotic. It like you needed those wireframe animations to really like bring clarity.
Because this is like even probably pre Beast Wars, right? Like this looks even worse.
Oh, definitely
like Beast Wars animation.
Or.
I mean, yeah, to be fair, Beast Wars
at least had like backgrounds. Like all of this animation is
gradient.
Just like I feel like I'm in that desert section from Kingdom Hearts they keep going back to, and instead there are just mechs.
Yeah.
Oh, God,
so you're saying it's better?
Yeah, I'm not arguing that like Beast Wars.
What's that game?
I like Beast Wars a lot too. What?
The wireframe tank game that you could play on the internet.
Battlezone. Play on the internet. Yes, Battlezone.
So I've been meaning for ages
that's the
to go
only
back
place
to the
I've ever
Battlezone
played
RTSs
Battlezone.
Those games are good. I'm Drew Scanlon, big fan. Friend of the show. We should wrap up our Mechwarrior talk. Does anyone else have any video games before we take a break?
I had another question.
Oh, wow.
This is a ridiculous... I mean, I'm just getting into the weeds on this shit.
I'm here for it, baby.
No,
talk about mechs all day.
One of my favorite, and because this is like you're always in a lance with other people, and I guess this is probably not a thing that happens in this one, but can you scout and do
it's just not that type
long
of
range
game.
attacks?
You can do long range attacks.
The idea of like sending someone to scout for things and like keeping people behind a a range or something, and then like go
Mechwarrior
over.
Online lets you do that missile lock shit.
100%. Mechwarrior Online was so good at that, or like the tag system, or the narc system. Narc is the name of the missiles that you launch that hook onto an enemy.
But it also narcs out your position.
It also narcs out their position.
Wow.
It's very good. It stands for some bullshit. Who knows?
Yeah.
But it's great. It's right up against the line of corny. It's good.
Right.
Narc launchers are in this game. The tag system is in this game. You could theoretically, be the scout. You could have like a bunch of long range missile people behind you, tell them to wait in a position, target something. But then I think once you tell them to attack, they'd probably break from that position. You don't have like a map. It's not like Valkyria Chronicles or XCOM, or you're not like moving units around. Right. And so there's a limit to what you can.
I guess I'm considering maybe the co-op implications here of like you could assign different.
Yes, I think in co-op that stuff works all the way.
Sure.
And then an Atlas appears 7 feet behind you, and you're like, "Well, that was worth it," because the reinforcements aren't real. You know what I mean? Like they're not on the map already and coming in. That to me would be the ideal. Would be like, hey, everything is already on this map. It has to move across this map, or it has to be airdropped in, and that airdropping in, that kind of drop shipping in, is noticeable because a big drop ship shows up, and they come out of it, and so like. That is one of those two systems would have been preferable instead of them literally being spawned in. Right. I understand why it's hard to make a game where like you're just tracking mechs off screen at all times, but that seems much more like the thing that would support the thing you're talking about. Right. But because the way waves work, because the way incoming enemies work is they just get spawned in as if it's a horde mode, and I get it. Like they haven't made a single player game ever before. Like, so I get why they lean towards things that look like horde modes, but it just wouldn't sustain over the course of a full mission. Right. And also, I didn't say it here, but like the first 17 hours of this game for me were a fucking cakewalk. There's like a couple of difficulty spikes, but just like you're killing dozens of mechs in those early missions because you're just like, for me at least, I was unstoppable until I hit like rank 8. And then it was like, ooh, okay, they turned up the difficulty here. Mm-hmm. Enemies are a little bit smarter. They're not just running in circles around me where I just shoot their legs out from under them. They're not just...
Are they all like around the same weight class as you too? Like, is that
in general, yeah, because there's a weight class maximum in this. Gotcha. You can't just drop your heaviest shit every time. Right. You have to drop... So like, oh, this is a 230-ton mission. You can only field up to 230 tons. I don't know why my employer would tell me how heavy the mechs I can drop are, but I understand it as a balancing situation. Yeah. I'd rather a soft thing where it's more expensive to drop heavier mechs. I'd rather like a soft kind of enforcement of that idea. But yeah, like I've never had money trouble in this game. I've never had a situation where it's like, oh no, I'm having a hard time putting my mechs back together. I've never had to engage with the stuff that's about like, make sure you go to an industrial hub to repair your shit, until I got it to like 8 and 9. And at that point, it's like, oh, those systems turned on finally. And like, I still don't really need them, but yeah, I'll start to engage with them. So again, more of that stuff's in my review. You can go read that on the site. And Cado, we can talk whenever because we work together. Yeah. Patrick, sorry, you too also. If you have any other questions, definitely you know where to reach me. To help you.
I've got a notebook over here.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Cado's got questions about co-op.
Right.
And I think this weekend you guys are probably going to answer a lot of those.
Me and Patrick.
So I look forward to hearing about it on Patrick and Cado.
Patrick and Cado. Yeah.
Right.
Report back, Commander. Anyone else play any video games before we take a break?
Well, at this point,
should we just take a break? What's up?
So at this point, we should take a break. I have several Game Awards things we can talk through. Cado, I know we're supposed to spoil Life is Strange, but this was originally going to be like, oh, we'll have a shorter podcast, and then we'll just bring it out.
Forgot that Mechwarrior was happening.
Mechwarrior happened.
I did too, but I forgot we were podcasting today.
You thought it was a different day than it is, so
I thought it was Wednesday.
Yeah, that's.
I was up late watching. I was up late watching The Mentalist, and then I couldn't sleep because what I saw was so disturbing.
God bless. We can't get into mentalist discourse here.
Stop. No, we're going to take a break and then
we'll come back.
Briefly talk about some games, and there's some Game Awards stuff we can get into because we'll record this before that award show happens. But I have a couple of things we can talk about.
All right. BRB. And we're back. Patrick, what games do you want to talk about?
All right, here I can send
Game Awards.
We'll do it. This is like the Game Awards. I'm gonna simulate this for us right now.
Okay.
I can send you. Okay, so don't look at the. You're gonna open up a Google Drive file, and just don't look at the file name at the top.
Okay.
You know, just like
download and run it.
Yeah. Turn on administrative access.
Yeah, don't make it public, please. I guess that's just gonna show. Okay. Well, if you can just click it.
I'm just going to click it. I'm just going to close my eyes and start clicking things on my computer here. All right. I haven't looked yet.
Don't worry about
Cado,
it.
did you?
Yeah.
I didn't look at anything.
Okay.
I have it. What is this? I stopped it. It's gonna...
Okay.
I heard someone gasp.
I think I know what this is.
Okay, it is full screened.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, 0.
Wait.
What's that sound? There it goes.
Wait, no. 3, 2, 1, click.
Three,
Zero
two-
is not a number.
Well, the zero is the zero is the click.
Zero is the
3,
number.
2, 1, click. May contain content inappropriate for children.
There was a time when you were heartless, brutal, a monster. And I'm proud of you for changing all that, but I'm here to ask you to be those things once more.
Whomst?
For them. For me. Can I count on you?
Like that synth, like this lighting.
Can I count on you?
Always.
Oh, right. Okay, sure. Interesting. Huh.
So for the audience, it's not The Wolf Among Us 2.
Yeah.
So I have let me pull up this PDF that answers some questions that you might have about a game from Telltale from a studio that does not exist
what?
anymore.
Yeah, what?
Well, I mean, I guess does right? It got acquired. I forget the actual machinations, but like they went under, and then someone bought them and said they were bringing them back.
But everyone was fired.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like everyone lost their job.
Which is why.
Yes.
So this is so Telltale, I think at this point is mostly just like a front, right? Like they're selling the games, but I don't. But I mean, like I don't know how much like Telltale's like staffing up as an individual studio. So like this game is made in collaboration with a studio called Ad Hoc, and so why Ad Hoc says this announcement fact. Ad Hoc is a creative house whose team includes several former Telltale employees. They're instrumental in the first Wolf game, including the lead writer, narrative director, game director Pierre Charette, game directors Nick Herman and Dennis Lenar, and Wolf One's composer Jared Emerson Johnson. Of course, like second question, which is like the first, like especially for Waypoint, like. Excuse me, question. Are you bringing back any other former Telltale employees?
Is there not an answer? Okay.
There is. As we announced back in August, well, I mean, there are words. As we announced back in August, it is our plan to grow slowly and very strategically, and we'll be looking to hire or to work with key talent from the previous company when and how we can, whether that's your hire, contract, or partnerships. Sarah Guinness, former Telltale Games Director of Operations, has been fulfilling that same role and heading up our North Carolina office. And we have just hired Zach Litton, Telltale's former VP of Engineering, as Telltale's CTO. We'll be recruiting additional full-time staff next year as production ramps up, and we are prioritizing former Telltale employees. We'll have positions open in Malibu and Corte Madera.
Where was Telltale based? Wasn't it Bay Area?
Yeah. Sounds like this is like, yo, let's get out of the Bay Area. We should have more news on this front soon.
Smart, but don't love to be invited to reapply for my old job and to relocate.
I mean, it is like, but you know, on some level, like if they are actually like giving, if you try to give some measure of benefit of the doubt, like if they are actually prioritizing folks like that, that's good. I mean, it's like obviously how Telltale went under is fucking tragic and terrible.
But that may also not be on these people, right? Like that's
what I mean, right? Yeah. Like it doesn't seem like this is the dirtbag business people that essentially lied to a group of people as that studio went under. So, and I liked The Wolf Among Us. It did have a great soundtrack. Like that synthy soundtrack was like the aesthetic was a huge part of the appeal of that first season.
Is that based off like a Vertigo comic?
Fables.
Yeah.
So it's a prequel to Fables, which I've never read. I don't know.
Huh.
how good or not good it is. But I liked this was during a time where like I was more or less just playing everything Telltale put out because my wife really enjoyed playing those games, and it was like, oh, cool. Like it's impossible she's just not interested in games really, and so we just played everything Telltale put out, including that garbage Game of Thrones game.
Oh my god, I forgot that existed.
Although I managed to convince her to stop playing it like 2 episodes in. So like, this is bad. I don't want to do this anymore. So yeah, all right. So that's one. Let's see. I have another here. Let's see. This is a real low-hanging fruit. When you get pre-briefed on games, it's not usually the big stuff. So we're really covering easy ground here. All right, here we go. This one you don't have to be like, you don't have to hide your eyes. Although there is an interesting wrinkle about it.
I mean, I don't even know what I'm seeing the name, and I don't know what the fuck this is. So it's okay that
I'm on the page.
You know,
yeah, you're fine. There's no there's no big surprise reveal here, except for like a interesting marketing bit. That you'll see. All right, so we're loading up. Before I guess people who are watching this or listening to this after the fact, we're watching the Godfall trailer, which is a new Gearbox publishing. Game.
Okay.
So,
ready?
All right, ready?
2, 1, go.
Actual in-engine footage.
There's a guy running through a church, a cyber church.
Looks like what was that that iOS game that Epic and
it looks exactly
Infinity
like
Blade.
Infinity Blade. Yeah.
Chair.
Infinity Blade.
Yeah.
Very
PlayStation.
There's a PlayStation logo.
That's weird.
Well, it'll become clear in a minute. The One Ring.
Except it's a claymore.
On your feet, old blood.
Is that is that Infinity Blade?
Yes.
It's not, but yes. Basically, if you haven't seen this trailer, just conjure in your mind Infinity Blade. And
It looks like the Infinity Blade a lot.
Right in our way.
Wait, it looks like they're looking at like a bigger version of that.
Is that the
Infinity Blade?
Infinity Blade?
Is there a Hydra up there? What's going on?
That's a Hydra.
Okay, that's on a
Knock
god.
that sword over on top of that Hydra.
That's probably what you do, honestly.
Patrick, is the twist that this is Infinity Blade?
No, it's coming. There's not really a twist.
PlayStation 5 and PC. PlayStation 5.
PlayStation 5.
I see. Godfall.
So this is the Godfall. Could not look more generic.
Excuse me,
game.
have you seen these fonts?
If you go to godfall.com as of right now, the only thing that appears, it's a white page with 4 letters that appear, and it says Swan, and that's it. The website's not up yet because the game hasn't been announced, so that's fair.
Cool.
Codename Swan.
Who is making this game?
Counterplay Games. I don't know who Counterplay Games is. I mean, the notable bit is that someone is coming out and just naming PlayStation 5 as a platform.
A new third-person online action combat game focused on real-time melee PvP and PvE by Counterplay Games. Anyway, I know that's not the story. This is their Twitter. Their Twitter page is up already. Is the thing?
No, I want to read this line from the YouTube.
Oh, good.
See if you can pick up on where I stumbled. Godfall is a third-person fantasy looter slasher focused on melee combat coming to PlayStation 5 and Godfall is a third-person fantasy looter slasher.
Shut up. Bad. Boo.
Slasher looter?
Technicality, no, boo.
Sloosher? Yeah, I think Sloosher.
Schluter slasher? Yeah, they're naming PS5, which is
a lasher?
It's
a sluter?
A slasher.
No, a sluter's already a shoot.
No, that's Schluter.
The problem here is that Schluter. This is not a Schluter. This is a sluter. Like a
sluther?
A slash looter.
A slatter.
A slatter? No, but there's not
looter.
loot. You gotta get the oot in there. That's the only loot is loot.
Sluter.
A sloosher? No, it's not
Sloosher.
It's
a sloosher.
At 7-Eleven.
It's a sloosher.
I love to mix the different flavors of sloosher.
Yeah, just sloosh them all around. Oh, they made Duelist.
They did make Duelist with a Y. It's a card game that I hear people like.
Yeah.
I never got around to it.
That's a good card game.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard. Anyway, I hope that their new sloosher goes well. But yeah, PlayStation 5. That's the news story there, right, Patrick? That's the thing you're calling out?
Well, I laughed.
It's called PlayStation 5.
Yeah, well, it's just funny because the cynic in me is like when we were discussing this privately in our Slack, just as like, what can you like sort of pre-write, before the Game Awards for articles that would go up on the site tonight as that's happening. And this game would never get written up. Not on like at least not for our site where we're not covering every single announcement.
Right.
But the fact that they will give us justification to put PlayStation 5 in a headline is why it will get written up. Like immediately, like in the conversation was like, oh, they named PlayStation 5. That's the headline. And I was like, fuck, they got me. Like that's the only reason they did this is like because they know that I will then write a headline that's PlayStation 5 because people will click it. The only reason they named PlayStation 5 was for people to... Cool. Well, they got me because they're right. I will put that in a headline. So bravo to Gearbox and Counterplay Games for
Counterplay. It's right in the name.
Is there anything else from this event from tonight's as of this recording?
If there's anything else. Well, the Resident Evil 3 got formally announced.
Yep.
There was a trailer earlier this week.
There was also that big Nintendo indie showcase that included Axiom Verge 2, which seemed neat, and
Sports Story,
a follow-up to Golf Story.
Hell yeah. Golf Story, great game.
I'm hoping that they improve the stuff I didn't love about Golf Story, because there was the bulk of Golf Story, like the gameplay of Golf Story I really liked and could definitely go back to that game and
yeah, the story
more.
RPG part was pretty weak, but the idea of like whatever they did to golf, if they did that to a bunch of different sports and then found a way to pump up like the RPG part of it, like that could be really cool. And Resident Evil 3 is interesting because I think of any of the old Resident Evil games that could use like a fundamental reworking, RE3 is it. It's like one of the weaker entries in the series before, like, but it's still like in the good Resident Evil before like you get to like, well, I know people like 5. I didn't like 5, but 6, I think 6 is just trash. It's like 30 hours of trash. It's a bad game. It's a bad action RE. Like it's RE4 taken to a really dark place. But RE3 is sort of like Resident Evil went through 2 arcs, right? Like it went through what started with RE1 and that formula that was taken through 1, 2, and 3, and then some spin-offs, and then was reinvented from that perspective with Code Veronica on the Dreamcast, and then it pivoted again with RE4, and then went in a different direction.
Right.
And 3 was just where they ran out of steam. It had a good concept, like the idea of like the Mr. X, like a nemesis character, just stalking you the whole game was interesting, but it also had some of the cool ideas, like randomized puzzles. Like the puzzle solutions were not universal. You couldn't just look up you could look up a fact that I think would give you
like a method or something.
I don't know exactly because I didn't play RE3. Like I heard mixed things, didn't get around to it. Was playing other games at the time and never played it myself. So, but I know it's a game that is people won't be mad if like parts of it are gutted and reinvented and. I think it's curious it's coming so fast. It has to mean it wasn't made by the RE2 team because that game came out in January and this remake is going to come out just over a year later, which in some ways, hopefully it's good, but in some ways bums me out because RE2 was so masterfully done in terms of how it balanced updating and remixing and tweaking. But maybe that's something Capcom can do from a more top-down approach because RE3 could certainly use it. And they added DLC. There's a rumor they're adding straight up DLC to RE2 to like connect the two, but they've already added a letter that you can go and find from Jill that gives it like they're actually tweaking the premise of RE3 to give it a better continuity link to RE2, which is fascinating to like. It's canon, but not. It's like new canon. I don't know where it falls in the mythology, but
the original games are now part of the Legends collection.
I see characters in the Resident Evil, the new Resident Evil universe.
Right.
Like think about them as legends and myths in their own life. You could find the original RE2.
Her name was Mara Jade.
Yeah.
You were almost a Jade sandwich.
That's that. Got it in one. What? I never played Code Veronica.
New Smash character? I saw a rumor on Smash.
Who's the new Smash character?
Who was it? Oh man, this is completely like I'm just pulling this out of my ass. I saw it at some point.
The rumor from that one series.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, Xenosaga, right? KOS or KOS?
Oh, like KO at Cosmos. That character?
Yes, Cosmos.
Yeah.
Cosmos?
Yeah,
Cosmos. Cosmos. It's probably Cosmos. I never played those games somehow.
Do you remember Xenosaga?
I do.
Those are supposed to be like an 8-part prequel to fucking Xenogears made by Namco Bandai instead of Square Enix.
Yeah.
So it was in the same universe but could not reference the events or characters from like that's such a what?
Listen.
What?
Well, and this is the thing is that and then Xenoblade is still in the Xeno series but is not again
it's not narratively connected, right?
Well, it depends on who you ask, is my understanding.
Really?
Fucking hold on. I just have to read Cosmos, KOS dash MOS, recursive acronym for Cosmos Obey Strategical Multiple Operation System. Fucking it's in.
What's up?
Why is it the K is Cosmos?
Yeah, it's recursive. It's Cosmos all the way down.
I hate this.
Yeah. There is overlap thematically, I would say, for sure, between the Xenoblade games and the I played Xenogears. I only played it once, and that was in 1998. And it probably changed me forever. I just don't like. It's not a thing I returned to, but as a mech lover, it's certainly something I want to return to. And I've seen fan theories about how Xenoblade connects, but mostly thematically. More than yeah.
Whereas Xenosaga was explicitly, hey, this is set in the world of Xenogears. I remember liking the combat of Xenogears a lot. I don't think I ever finished it. Right? You fight God in that one. I mean, that happens in a lot of JRPGs.
I was about to say.
Yeah.
But also that one was like much more explicit about like the Catholicism connections.
Can I just read this fucking post from a GameFAQs user? This might spoil something. I don't know what it's spoiling, but I'm going to read it.
From what?
Xeno series.
Oh, sure.
Without spoiling too much, Xenoblade X is a bridge between Xenosaga and Xenogears. Xenoblade Chronicles X is a bridge between Xenosaga and Xenogears. XBX is a retelling or a reboot of Xenogears Perfect Works Episode 1, but XBX is also Xenosaga Episode 4. Once you finish the game, you'll see why. There's a main character with a story background heavily related to the story of Xenosaga. And actually, the lore of Xenosaga is also part of the Perfect Works Episode 1. Planet Mictman, Interstellar War, Year 40XX events, and more. XBX picks up where Xenosaga chronologically left Perfect Works Episode 1. XBX basically starts with the Eldridge, now named White Whale, which is also part of Perfect Works Episode 1. And even the developers made clear the connection. The ending scene of Xenosaga 3 is the first scene in Xenoblade Chronicles X. Planet Earth, Sun, and Moon, inverted position, implying or suggesting how certain characters ended in Earth. Yes, she was pulled to Earth because the planet's gravity field. It was obvious. She was too close to Earth. End of post. So they're all in the same universe.
Sure.
This feels similar to a what's it called? A Shin Megami Tensei situation, right?
Sort of, yeah. Except that is a game made by every same company, the same basic development.
Xenosaga, there was no license agreement between Square and Namco. That was just
that's wild.
The same creative team or whatever, being we don't want to give that up.
Yeah, I've posted proof. This is the proof that's offered by this GameFAQs user that has an image of the Xenosaga 3 ending. And then footage from the Xenosaga or the Xenoblade Chronicles X opening. Those characters, I don't.
But is this a FromSoft situation?
It might
where it's like a wink. It's like,
a nod.
We're gonna wink a nod at the connective tissue, but don't go full Nintendo and actually try and make a timeline for Legend of Zelda, because actually you've just made things worse.
God, yeah. There may be evidence you're not picking up on. Remember, the ending of Xenosaga 3 and the opening of Xenoblade Chronicles X are not identical. They're flipped, so they may not be representing the same event. They may be opposite events. It rhymes, as George Lucas would say.
Fuck.
Anyway,
here's
any other news?
Here's a list. Ori and the Will of the Wisp trailer.
Okay.
Gears Tactics trailer. Wolfeye Studios debut game announcement, which is what the Arcane.
What is it? Wolfeye Studios. Wolfeye.
Right? Isn't that's the X? Yeah, the creative one of the designers, lead designers on Dishonored.
And they are we gonna get another immersive sim?
Wow.
It
probably.
Their thing is we have proven passion for immersive games that feature original worlds and strong audio.
Oh.
Well,
wait.
Good thing we recorded a podcast where like one of the theories at the end of that podcast was like, well, maybe it's just going to go dark for a while. We just won't see any more of those.
I'm telling you.
Way to undermine our podcast.
Yeah, Raphael, who was I believe the lead of the Leon studio, Arcane studio. I believe maybe it was the Austin one. Anyway, one of the two Arcane studios. Worked on Dishonored and Arx Fatalis. So that's interesting.
New Half-Life Alex trailer. We mentioned the rumor of a Left 4 Dead VR. Great. The Elder Scrolls Online cinematic trailer, which is just my favorite bit once a year, is I watch like a cool Elder Scrolls Online trailer, and then it says Elder Scrolls Online at the end, and I go, well, great. See ya in the next Elder Scrolls in 7 years.
You don't want to go to Elsewhere? Is that where they're at now?
Elsewhere.
Sure.
Anyway.
I've heard that game has gotten okay.
Me too.
Warframe special announcement.
Ooh.
They should just spoil the plot twist like you did for us at E3.
One day I'll just record myself reading that.
Do you think you're not into Warframe?
That's just gonna be, and we're coming to PS5, right?
Or Switch. No, it's on Switch.
It's already on Switch. The only thing they can announce.
If it's a special announcement, if it's a special announcement,
it's probably just an expansion.
Yeah,
right? Like that game's big enough that they could just do an expansion
there. Yeah, special might just be like
what is the Warframe announcement that would get you to play Warframe?
Well, I've heard that it's the classic. You got to play a shitload of hours to get to the good. Like that game.
It's the Final Fantasy
without
14
a particularly
situation.
good story,
yeah.
And then it developed into a really fascinating story as they found their footing a couple of years in. So like that was Joel's whole pitch was like, yeah, you got to play like 50 hours, and then like it's really cool and there's really good quest stuff. But it was also like, but you also kind of need to know what came before to appreciate where it's going. And I was like, okay, that's just not.
Yeah. Level 43 Dark Knight now, by the way, everybody. I made it 43 on Dark Knight. I'm getting there. I'm trying to level up Dark Knight all the way before I get further into Heaven's Word. No, I'm done MSQ for the main. I'm done launch MSQ. I'm now in Heaven's Word, but I'm trying to.
So you're not going into any.
I've done like a little bit. Anyway, we're going to keep moving. Still playing. Don't worry.
Full trailer for Ghost of Tsushima.
Right. They teased that at the end of the State of Play.
I'm so curious about that game.
No idea what to expect.
That demo I saw at E3 a couple years ago was like pretty lacking. It felt like a third-person like action game, third-person like action melee game, but not all the way.
Combat's gonna feel kind of weird with like Sekiro kind of ate its lunch.
Well, it's like
where it could be pretty good, but it's
yeah,
like you know what I mean.
They have
like,
very similar
like,
ideals of like blade on blade action type shit, samurai movie vibes. And Sekiro nailed that.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is the demo I saw a couple years ago, and again, who knows what this looks and feels like now, but it was not Sekiro style behind the back. It was not a third person like behind the back thing. It was like almost like Devil May Cry or something, right? But it's also not Devil May Cry where you're doing wild ass combos. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know. We'll see. I like samurai games. I like Way of the Samurai. That was a good game.
Was it?
I love Way of the Samurai 1 and 2 are fantastic games.
I've never heard
it was
of
a PS2 series. It has like the best pitch, or it has like the coolest thing I wish more games did. Both, I think actually all four of the Way of the Samurai have the Nemesis system. No, they're short, but they have a billion endings, and so there's like branching paths. The first Way of the Samurai game you could beat in 90 minutes, but there were like 12 endings.
Oh,
and so it was a lot
Star
of like
Fox model.
Yeah, it was like the Yojimbo model, because the whole premise was like you are a wandering samurai who comes into town, and then who you side with and what actions you do and where you are during certain times of the day unlock different story beats.
Nice.
And so beating those games meant replaying the same scenario over and over again and aligning with different factions, figuring out where you had to be because you get information late in one ending that you could use the next. Like, oh, if only I had been there at midday in the field, I could have stopped, so and so from being killed. Like, they were cool. Anyway, I wish more people. I'd be one of the 7 people who would buy HD remasters of the Way of the Samurai games. Anything else? Any other? Anyway, Ghosts. We'll see. I hope that they show an extended gameplay.
Yeah,
I think Keighley said that the longest trailer of the night by far is Ghost of Tsushima. Cool. So it sounds like it's going to get kind of its coming out party here after Last of Us.
Does that have a
delay?
Date?
No, because
is this launch?
And I had heard this privately, and then Jason Schreier reported it publicly. Was that Sony had like pretty methodically mapped out like the lead up to the PS5, and part of that was like Last of Us comes out this holiday, and then it was going to come out in like in November or whatever, and then Ghost of Tsushima was going to come out in the spring, and then Naughty Dog announced a release date for their game, then delayed it to February. May, right? May. It was going to come out in February and whatever. But anyway, like they pushed their game back 4 or 5 months, and then that kind of screwed up with the cadence of their releases as they were heading towards, the inevitable holiday launch of PS5 and the Xbox. So I think it's still supposed to come before
it is still
the PS5, but probably in August or September. It's not going to be a PS5 game. That is absolutely not the case. It is not going to be even a straddler that gets re-released on both. At least that hasn't been. I mean, I asked, that was not the plan.
I want so badly to know how they're going to deal with One is we've talked before about the things that we're hopeful that they do with backwards compatibility. I hope I can just put that game in my PS5 and have it run.
Yeah.
But man, I'm so curious about digital.
Or you can download a digital
That's
copy
my thought.
Or whatever.
But like, could I? Because I only have a physical version, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
I want to know that stuff so bad.
They did that on Xbox, like if you had a disc, right, for certain 360 games.
Did they?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
But those are games they could barely. Yeah, but those are games they could barely make money on anymore.
Right.
Like Ghost of Tsushima is going to be a $60 product at the time that it happened. So it's like, I wonder if it'll be the kind of thing where they will message at some point. Look, if you want PS5 like forwards compatibility, just where you can just download this and continue playing it here, buy it digital. The physical one is not going to get you. It's like a fairly reasonable compromise, and that my guess is that would be where they went.
That is stuff I want to know the most. I know we're not going to know any of that stuff until like 6 months from now, 5 months from now. But like,
I think the rumor is maybe like a February event for PS5. Wizards of the Coast owned game studio Turk or Tuque. How do you even pronounce that?
Tuque.
Tuque. Tuque Games will have a new game set in the Dungeons and Dragons universe.
Sounds right.
Riot Games will be showing a narrative-driven single-player game set in League of Legends. And Green Day is going to be there, tied to a game. You know what would be the biggest red flag yet for Cyberpunk?
Oh, they can't.
And a lot of red flags for Cyberpunk, right? And I think Keanu has distracted us as, look, the Keanuverse is going to be, what is it, Matrix 4 and John Wick 4 were announced to have the same release date in May of 2021. But I think maybe we've put off the track on like some of the things we were worried about with Cyberpunk. And what if Green Day was announced to be like a punk band featured in Cyberpunk 2077?
I mean, that is what Keanu Reeves' character.
It's from that same.
It's from a band. That's the.
It would be his band.
Yeah, he is a rocker boy, which in the Cyberpunk universe
right.
is a cyberpunk rock star. Green
Day would be his band.
Yeah, that would be bad. That's not a diss on Green Day, but I can't think of anything less like.
Well, you can. I actually think you can freely diss on Green Day at this point. I think you're good.
They had their moment, but their moment is not. This would be a really boring way to make the future sound. Like in a year where 100 Gex came out, in a year where like there is such incredible, actually transformative new sounding music, where like genres are colliding and voices that are like unlike, what mainstream pop music has ever sounded like, but are also adapting pop sensibilities, but also keep a sort of underground DIY vibe. The music I love that came out this year sounds more futuristic than Green Day, even if you put a filter on
But
them.
is it punk?
Yes. The shit I'm talking about is way more punk, right? Anyway. Everyone should go listen to 1000 Gex, the album by 100 Gex. It's really good. GECS.
Bring back Gex.
But also bring back Gex.
Bring back Gex.
What if it's really for a Tony Hawk game?
Okay. Yeah. Tony Hawk 0. Skate 4.
That would be good.
Skate 4.
Said he's making a new one.
Skate 4. Green Day.
What if
Tony Hawk's
Skate 4. Tony Hawk's Skate 4.
Right, that's yes.
Skate 4 Green Day.
Or just the new Tony Hawk was spiritually a Skate 4
game. But the rumors have been that he's talked to EA, right? That he's talking to EA about stuff. EA on
They were
Skate.
like, "Hey, aren't you Tony Hawk?"
Yeah, they were like, "Are you Tony Hawk? You're that guy? I follow you on Twitter. You're great. You did this what is it, skateboarding?
Tony Hawk. I don't follow Tony Hawk, but the couple of times I've seen him resurface on my timeline is him sharing awkward social encounters he has as old Tony Hawk, where people sort of think there was
literally 1 hour ago, guy in crowded elevator, not the one I got stuck in. Have we worked together? Me, I don't think so. Awkward silence. Him, loudly. Skateboarder. Me, yes, I am the one. Him, we are honored to be in your presence. Me, that's excessive, but thanks. Awkward glances until the door opens. That was an hour ago.
There was, I want to say, a TSA one where someone looked at his ID, looked at his name, and said, "You look a lot like that skateboarder, Tony Hawk." And he was just like, and then walked through TSA.
It's so good. God,
he has a very good. He's a very good Twitter user. If you need a follow,
yes, he seems.
He
cool.
always cracks me up. Yeah.
He's in LA, so it could happen.
It'd be the time. Tony Hawk would get a Tony Hawk announcement would get a lot more attention at a thing like this than it would through a press release.
And also,
with some random day,
I would be fine with Green Day being on that soundtrack and it being a sort of and we're going to have a big,
it absolutely fits.
We're going to have a big curated soundtrack of hits from now.
Blink 182.
They would be playing an old song.
Yeah, they'd be playing an old song. They'd be playing an old song. That would be good. That would be dope. That would be dope. I think I'd be down with this.
I guess we'll find out.
We've come up with door A and door B.
We're gonna find out what universe we're living in.
It's gonna be door C. Green Day's music will appear exclusively from now on in Godfall, Infinity Blade 3.
They made that already. It'll be
4. Skate 4. Godfall.
What if Skate and Godfall?
I would if you had a skateboard that looked like the Infinity Blade, I think you'd be a cool skateboarder.
Yeah,
I'm putting it out there. Any other?
Or a Marvel.
The Cosmic Surfer, the Silver Surfer, power cosmic flowing through the Infinity Blade.
Just Tony Hawk covered in silver.
All silver, everything. Yeah. Is there any other stuff there? We don't know who wins anything, right? They didn't tell you the award winners.
No.
Damn.
They did not. Yeah.
Who is going to be Influencer of the Year?
What are our options?
Let's find out.
We must know those, right?
We voted on them, didn't we?
I can pull it up. Yeah.
The Game Awards. Right. Norman Reedus. He's going to be there, is a thing that the internet just told me.
Okay.
Of course.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Oh, wait. No, that's right. They didn't let us vote on
Influencer of the Year.
That's an audience.
That's an
award.
audience one.
Oh, is that players? Yeah. I think you mean a player's voice.
The Players Voice Awards.
Players Voice Awards.
But are the nominees out at least for that? Right? There must have been at least a round of
let's see. It's actually just nominees. Player's Voice is just a video game. And they don't call it Influencer, right? Content Creator of the Year. Courage, a.k.a. Jack Dunlop, Dr. Lupo, Benjamin Lupo, Ewok, Greffig, and Shroud. Shroud, the only one on this list. I've heard of Dr. Lupo.
Yeah.
I've heard. Well, and also Dr. Lupo, I think, is one of the ones that just signed a new mega contract with Twitch.
Shroud just went over to Mixer.
Yeah.
So I've heard.
And Shroud was he started as a big PUBG.
Yes.
Or he was really big. That's when I was hearing that name was when I was checking the PUBG subreddit a lot when I was writing about PUBG, and I always saw Shroud because he was extremely good. I don't know Ewok. Ewok looks very young.
Ewok is a little child, right?
Oh, Fortnite. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm voting least likely to suddenly
nice.
support the Nazis afterwards, as has happened in previous content creator of the year.
Ewok.
I'm going with Ewok.
Yeah.
That's my safest bet.
She seems nice. She's 13 years old. She was born deaf. She's known as Ewok in the esports world. She has joined FaZe Clan, so she's part of FaZe. Let's hope not.
Good for her.
Yeah. Yeah. Some good photos here. Damn. You know what?
Coach.
Check out fucking Ewok. Gender doesn't matter in this. The important thing is to support each other while you're playing. So I felt really cool. It was a really unique experience. But I wanted to show Ninja that anyone can play. Male, female, it doesn't matter. What's good?
Yo!
What's good? Ninja, I'll see you in the streets. I don't want this Ewok smoke. Catch you with them timber, falling timber, I'll smash you AT-AT.
I thought it was just that the statement was gender doesn't matter. And I was like, wow, great. That's, good too.
Yeah. But then, out here calling
Went
Ninja
for the
out.
knife.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. Wah, wah. Fucking Ghost of Tsushima, you ninja. Can catch these Ewok blades.
Esports Coach of the Year. Thoughts on how Eric Hogue is going to stack up against Fabian Lohomani?
You're really just making us seem like we don't understand anything about the culture we report on.
We don't.
I know.
We don't.
I know.
No, hey, I would never even pretend.
No.
Esports out of my depth. Don't know.
Community support.
Go to people that.
Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, or Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege.
Hey, let's just scroll through the list.
Yeah, go to the top.
We'll finish. Let's go to the top.
Go to the bottom. The top is game of the year. We'll end on that.
You're right.
You're
right. Oh my god.
Right. We got to earn it.
We got to. This is
a fucking list.
This is a list. VR
this is
AR
the rest of the
game.
podcast. Let's go.
Beat Saber wins VR AR game, I think.
Not No Man's Sky?
If we have to list them, we're going to be here for an hour, Patrick.
Just read the. It's
no, we're gonna go fast.
Asgard's Wrath.
This is
Asgard's Wrath, Blood and Truth, Beat Saber, No Man's Sky, Trover Saves the Universe.
Beat Saber should win, but Trover Saves the Universe in a more cynical universe is the one that takes it because the Rick and Morty fans
come out, or because they could get. I mean, we know how the voting process works on these things, so I don't think it's corrupt. But Justin Roiland being there and accepting with a Rick voice seems like a Game Awards thing. Strategy game. Rob, I'll let you take this. Do you have this up in front of
you? Sure. Age of Wonders Planetfall, Anno 1800, Fire Emblem Three Houses, Total War Three Kingdoms, Tropico 6, Wargroove.
Oh, there's another one on this list I didn't see. Shit. Okay.
Come on, Fire Emblem, right?
Probably, given the voting body.
Yeah.
Rob,
I think the other ones would split votes
Rob,
too much.
We're not voting. We're not voting.
It's not what I want to win. I'm just saying, you look across these, it's gonna too many people are gonna have a preference.
I know.
It's gonna steal votes.
I mean, first of all,
it should be Three Kingdoms.
There's people who think it's a strategy game.
Yes. It is.
Wow.
It is a strategy game. You can say you don't like it as a strategy game.
It's a tactics game or an RPG.
There's not.
Oh my god!
Way better in those categories.
There isn't a tactics category. There isn't a tactics.
Waypoint, where strategy and tactics are separate categories.
They are separate. Rob is right. I just am a realist.
Well, also, it always ends up. It is frustrating to see how these games get sorted into categories that they will then dominate because people voting on them don't play anything else in these categories, right? Yep. That is the frustrating thing. There's a lot of people who are going to be like, I like Fire Emblem Three Houses, but I don't play strategy games. Yeah. And that is the frustrating result of a lot of this sorting.
Yeah, I get you. Sports racing games, Crash Team Racing, Nitro Fueled, Dirt Rally 2.0, Evolution Pro Soccer, eFootball Pro Evolution. What? Why does it say eFootball?
Also, sports and racing, just there's not enough. Fucking mash those genres together and just fuck two games at once.
Yeah, a football Pro Evo, Pro Evo Soccer 2020, F1 2019, FIFA 20. Rob, do you think your F1 can take it here?
No.
Crash Team Racing Nitro.
You think it's Crash?
I think it's Crash.
I
think that's what
I don't actually know. I don't think so.
People say because FIFA just because
I think if it was a fan vote, Crash would win it. But if this is critics vote, enough of them probably would actually
go to FIFA.
Maybe I think it'd be a racer.
I think
a
a
dirt rally
game ends up winning
Me
this.
too.
Just by
Okay. Score and music: Cadence of Hyrule, Death Stranding, Devil May Cry 5, Kingdom Hearts 3, or Sayonara Wild Hearts.
I think Sayonara.
It's either Death or Sayonara, and I think Sayonara actually takes it.
Yeah,
I hope so.
Because it's also one of those like, well, it's not going to be in a lot of things, but this deserves something.
And it's short. People played it.
Right.
People be like, oh yeah, I played that. I'll vote for that.
Yeah.
That's good. Role-playing game.
Death Stranding. Death Stranding does have a good soundtrack.
Oh, I love it.
If you like that, like kind of grungy, like synth, like undercurrent, like just slight, like go listen to the new Halloween soundtrack that John Carpenter did with his son, in which they reinterpret a lot of their music. It's like you could just drop that into Death Stranding in a lot of cases.
Role-playing game: Disco Elysium, Final Fantasy 14, Kingdom Hearts 3, Monster Hunter World Iceborne. Do not like its placement here, by the way.
Nope.
The Outer Worlds. I think the Outer Worlds wins this, and
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 14 or Disco Elysium should, is what I think.
Yeah, I would say the Disco Elysium's presence gives it a fighting shot.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be shocked.
trendy.
It's trendy.
Yeah.
It would also like behind the curtain. Sometimes people vote for games that like they think should win and maybe aren't necessary because like sometimes it's a collective vote of like how is this handled at each editorial outlet? You know, who knows? So I could see Disco actually sneaking a win here.
Yeah,
Sometimes you create a beautiful Google form and send it to your team.
Oh yeah, Rob?
And only one person gets back to you. And you can't argue with the fact they love Kingdom Hearts 3. And so you just have to accept that. Yeah, that's probably
the
probably
Waypoint.
Rob,
that is Waypoint.
Both for Rob and Patrick, I just want you both to know what a joy it has been to hear both of you come to me with things I've dealt with for years at this company of being like, yeah, no one got back to me on this thing. I had to really just like hound people or, yeah, they said the money was coming in, but I don't know from where. That it is genuinely a joy to have my old problems repeated back.
You love to see it.
You love to see it, as they say. Next one, performance. Ashley Birch as Parvati in Outer Worlds. Courtney Hope as Jesse Faden in Control. Laura Bailey as Kate Diaz in Gears 5. Mads Mikkelsen as Cliff in Death Stranding. Matthew Peretta as Dr. Casper Darling in Control. And Norman Reedus as Sam Porter Bridges in Death Stranding. He's there. Like
in my heart, it's Dr. Casper Darling. I think it's like probably Jesse Faden or
Norman
Parvati.
Reedus.
I would love it to be Parvati because I think Parvati is well performed, but Casper Darling is so good. Matthew Peretta's Casper Darling is so fucking strong. But it's probably
I'm really
Norman.
gratified here by how much I anticipated how people would have voted anyway had they voted and just correctly like.
Well, the thing to remember is you did get a list from us. You just got a first draft list, not
nominees.
No,
you got our nominee
all went
list.
to good use.
Yeah.
You know, like
of course.
I did. Like I just worried. I was like, did I just cast everybody's like
again?
Yeah.
This is a familiar problem.
Is this like parliamentary voting back in the day where it's like, and for all my tenants, I will say.
Yes. Ongoing game, Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Tom Clancy 6, Tom Clancy Rainbow Six Siege, which I guess note is a different category than the thing I said before, which is the same games. What? Remember earlier I was like... community support, Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. That's the same. Community support is different. Community support. Recognize a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness.
Tetris 99 is different on both lists.
Oh, is Tetris 99 on one of these lists?
It's on multiplayer game.
Oh, I didn't say multiplayer game. I said ongoing game, which is literally the same as community support. Ongoing game awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. It is.
I see that.
It is different. It's just interesting that it's literally the same list.
The same list, yeah.
Who do you think wins this?
I don't know who this goes to.
This is I don't know.
Probably Destiny.
Fortnite
Probably Destiny.
2.0 is such a big thing. Destiny had a big release this year. Final Fantasy had a big release this year. I bet not Apex.
I also
or
could see
Tom
Apex
Clancy.
taking it. Because people really liked Apex. But I don't know. I don't have
the community support. This is the thing that makes me think, if you hate someone's community support, or if you don't like their community support, you're not going to vote for it for ongoing game either. Do you know what I mean?
But a lot of people voting on this are also going to hate the people who hate the community support.
Oh, that's true. I forgot it was press who voted on this.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Get fucked, whatever brand Twitter account. Was it Arby's? Who was it who did the poking Apex with a stick
I
thing?
don't know.
All right, narrative.
Sir, this isn't Arby's. A Plague Tale, Innocence, Control, Death Stranding, Disco Elysium, The Outer Worlds.
That's a good lineup.
I would say Disco here.
Disco's what should win.
Control wouldn't...
Or Control. Or Control. I think those are the two.
I haven't finished Control yet, so, but...
But what will win?
Outer Worlds.
I don't know.
I feel like I'm not that cynical.
You beat this week, Patrick, right?
Yeah, and everything turned out fine. Like seriously, like, no sarcasm. Like great. I kept waiting for the punch, the shoe to drop. Like, where did I screw this up? I was like, nah, actually, you genuinely made everything better, and you left the world in a better place than you entered it. Rob was very confused when I explained this in our Discord this morning. He's like, no, things get worse for people. I was like, no, they didn't. They just pretty much arrows trending up for everybody.
You got to make everyone come to the table and talk it out and compromise. Rob, this is what I mean. This is what I mean when I say that there is a procedural rhetoric to games.
See, I just blasted through the last zone and didn't bring people together. And hold on 1 second.
Yeah. Well, I think someone's buzzing at Rob's door.
It's probably a spam call.
A spam
All right, we'll keep going.
Multiplayer game, Apex Legends.
Disco Elysium wins. We're just going to say that.
Yeah, multiplayer game.
Put it into the world.
Yeah, you're right. Let's put it in to the world. Apex Legends, Borderlands 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Tetris 99, Division 2. Are you good?
I don't know.
Rob? You okay, Rob?
Yeah.
Okay. I would say... I bet Modern Warfare wins this.
Probably.
People really like that multiplayer.
Yeah. I want Tetris to win.
That game's cool.
That game's fun.
I'm glad it's on the list.
And it's so weird.
Mobile game, Call of Duty Mobile, Grindstone, Sayonara Wild Hearts, Sky, Children of the Light, What the Golf.
I bet. It's a weird one to be present in Sayonara for Sayonara to be present here because, like, yes, it is
it is on
here,
mobile,
but it's also available on PC
and which
Switch
of those is maybe better. Right.
Switch or like not mobile. I would not want to play that game on mobile.
Right.
So
I bet What the Golf takes it because it's funny and quirky.
Yeah. You think over Grindstone? Probably.
I don't think enough people played Grindstone. It's a good game.
A good question we should have asked was how many of these get announced on a stage? Because I bet mobile game is a thing where he goes, and we got some more winners for you today. Mobile game goes to Grindstone, multiplayer game goes to Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and narrative goes to Disco Elysium. And then we move on. And then
now
Joseph
another
Fares.
20-minute Q&A with Hideo Kojima.
Yeah. God, what if he puts Joseph Fares and Hideo Kojima on the stage at the same time?
Sure, why not?
Independent game, Baba Is You, Disco Elysium, Katana Zero, Outer Wilds, Untitled Goose Game. You know where my heart here is.
Yeah. I think Goose Game takes it, though.
Probably. I think Goose Game takes it, but Outer Wilds got like a big push from a lot of critics. Like a lot of people put it on like, I got to play this before the end of the year.
Yep.
But
all that came after
voting.
A lot of it seemed to come after the voting was closed.
Yeah, I bet it's Goose Game. Games for Impact.
Was such a
for
good game.
A thought-provoking message with a pro-social meaning or message. Sorry, a thought-provoking game with a pro-social. It's interesting because like Disco Elysium, not here, right? Outer Wilds, which is I guess not necessarily a social game, is still one of the most like philosophical and thoughtful.
Cynical game.
Outer Wilds, not Outer Worlds. Outer Worlds is a cynical game, but like games that actually have political meaning, not on. I mean, everything has political meaning, but like, you know what the fuck I'm saying? Games that
I don't see politics anywhere in this description.
Concrete Genie, Grease. Why is that here? Was that? I guess you could make mental health reading.
Yeah.
Kind Words, Life is Strange 2 and Sea of Solitude.
It's probably Life is Strange 2 because it's like the most
recognizable one. And that's how the
It was also very good.
I think worth it.
I think it's interesting.
A different version of this. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, a different version of this podcast would have had a big Life is Strange 2 conversation. You all should still do that
We'll
podcast
still do it.
at some point.
We will.
It's interesting that like Sea of Solitude, Grease, even Kind Words are things that have been critiqued for their attempt at political meaning or their attempt at bringing people together or thinking about things like mental health. And that is, they still make up the majority of this category. That's like, I think this category is still bad. I don't think this category means anything. Games what make you feel good is not a category of any value.
Make you feel good about games.
Yeah,
that's the other part of this.
That works. Because I don't think Life is Strange has made me feel good.
Sure.
Honestly.
But you know what I'm saying. Yeah.
But I think that's what makes it kind of self-serving, right? Is like kind of tries to gesture at like impact. Well, a really personal game about mental health isn't necessarily about broader impact, right? It's like any art, it's about personal impact, and maybe it can like affect discourse in a positive way around important issues, but that's different from political impact and like having sort of a instrumental purpose or a social problem you've identified that needs like some sort of
this is a secondary narrative like
category. Except that Kind Words is on here, and Kind Words doesn't have a narrative at all, right? Well, this is a
narrative. It's all broader, or also decided by the player and like your own experience that you have like within the notes that come through.
Narrative is about writing specifically, right? Whereas Games for Impact is about the way like any element of the game contributes a pro-social meaning or message,
right?
Which again, I don't love that as a descriptor. It's silly for me that this category wouldn't include, again, games like Disco Elysium, or if you're, it should be the narrative. It should be some sort of category that is. This shouldn't be a category. Those games, if they are strong in that way, should filter into other categories without needing,
or find other ways to phrase. Like this is basically like we want another narrative category because so many games have stories. There's a better version of that than whatever this is, right? Like there's a reason they do Best Actor and Best Actress, even though you should just have like Best Actor, but it's also so you can hand out more awards. And if the intention is more awards, this is just it's not even pandery. Like it's just mush. It doesn't make any sense. So, but still, Life is Strange 2 probably takes it. Yeah, and it's really good. So. It should.
Game Direction, awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. Control, Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2, Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, and Outer Wilds. My vote is Outer Wilds here. I bet Control. Death Stranding. Yeah, Death Stranding. Game Direction.
This is almost should be the auteur category.
Yeah. Death Stranding is going to win.
Yep.
Fresh indie game presented by Subway. Recognizing a new independent studio that released its first game in 2019. Za/Um for Disco Elysium.
I want to be in the meeting where someone raised their hand and went, "Hey, you know what company has a fresh branding?
Wait,
you want to see if they want to buy this logo spot?"
Yeah. That's amazing. Sorry, I just realized there is an independent games and also a fresh indie game category. Well, really, it should be a fresh indie studio category.
Right.
Yes.
Nomada Studio for Grease. Dead Toast Entertainment for My Friend Pedro. Mobius Digital for Outer Wilds. Mega Crit for Slay the Spire. And House for Untitled Goose Game.
Is this where all
also, House released a game before Untitled Goose Game.
That's what I thought, right? House is...
Yeah,
they're not a new studio. They made Push Me Pull You for the PS4 in May of 2016.
Oh my god!
So enough they may win forgot about this that they nominated it and nobody checked.
That's super. Yeah.
Wow.
Weird.
I could see Outer. It's probably Goose Game, even though it should be disqualified. But I could see Outer Wilds taking this one too.
Yeah, me too. I was just checking to see, and also the people who made My Friend Pedro, this is not their first game either. They just were just mostly in mobile before, I believe. Anyway,
sure.
That's how this works.
Well, it doesn't say like new; it says fresh.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. Good point. I thank you for your
bread's good every day. There,
it does. It does say a new independent studio.
Yeah, new independent studio released its first game
in 2019.
I mean, look, House only released one game in 2019. So from what's the Star Wars phrase? From a certain point of view, you know,
right.
Oh, God. All right. Fighting game, Dead or Alive 6, Jump Force, Mortal Kombat 11, Samurai Showdown, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Did not like Jump Force. How did Jump Force make this list?
Because you need
because they need to fill out 5 games.
You're not allowed to vote on this list unless you submit at least 3.
Yeah.
Or send in nominees unless you send in at least 3 things. If you cannot nominate 3 things, you don't get to nominate anything for a category.
There has to have been something else.
Yeah, probably. Like but does the editor of your favorite game site on a Friday afternoon realizing with Jeff Keighley in their email being like, hey, where are your nominees? Remember what the third thing is that they heard of that they didn't play because they're not the fighting game editor and no one got them back. Their fighting game, person didn't get them their notes back in time. Probably not. I think MK11 probably wins it. Right?
Yeah, I think so too. And MK11 had a fun, really good story.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is the year that, Smash players rise up.
Smash players rise up.
It's no longer shameful to be a Smash player. We can finally speak our truth.
Oh. Uh-huh.
The most oppressed of all gamers.
The Smash community.
Yeah, uh-huh. First they came from the Smash community and I said nothing. Family game for the best game appropriate for family. That's how gamers talk. For the best game appropriate, not necessarily Smash players. Smash players have been fine to me. For the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or play. I'm just saying, I don't want to drag them inappropriately. Call of Duty players, on the other hand, Luigi's Mansion 3, Ring Fit Adventure, Super Mario Maker
Nintendo
2,
category.
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
These are all Nintendo
Yoshi's
games.
Crafted World.
Hey, what's your favorite Nintendo game this year?
Yeah, wow. This feels like a broken category.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sayonara Wild Heart's not on this list.
That would have been appropriate.
That would have been appropriate.
For family play.
For family play. Outer Wilds not on this list. I think that's appropriate for family play.
I can see the distinction there of it being complicated enough that maybe you wouldn't think of it.
Family play. Unless you get a bad letter, in which case not family play.
I think Ring Fit could have taken this, but too many people started playing that too late in the year. So I think it's probably it's Luigi or it's Smash, most likely.
Yeah, I think so too. That makes sense. Where are we at? Our favorite categories.
Skip esports team.
OG.
Skip
OG.
Esports
It's
player.
OG. It's OG. It's OG.
OG
Oh,
wins.
okay. All right.
The fact that even I know that.
Yeah.
Again,
Then
even Austin knows.
Fair.
It's OG. Esports player though, miss me. I don't know.
I don't know. Yep.
Let's say Faker.
Rob, can you weigh in on esports player?
What?
No.
That's fine.
Esports host.
Thank you, esports host.
Let's say Golden Boy. I'm rooting for Golden Boy. Unless Golden Boy's become problematic this year and I missed something, which is totally
Then you rescind your endorsement.
I rescind my endorsement. Esports Game of the Year. Rob?
What up?
Doesn't Fortnite... I
don't have this list in front of me.
I think Fortnite...
So loaded. That's what we're doing.
This is the bit we're doing.
TheGameAwards.com/nominees. That's what we're looking
I'm
at.
looking at my ballot.
Why?
Because I couldn't be bothered to Google it. I knew where the ballot was.
Fortnite.
Fortnite wins this,
Can you
right?
name an esports player? Get fucked, Patrick.
Is that who's get fucked Patrick play for? Is
almost
that
like Rob was explicitly first hired so that we could hire esports more.
Team Liquid?
And I told you we were not ready to play in that space. Clearly.
Esports event. I'm going to give it to the International. That seemed fun.
Yeah.
Esports coach. Didn't we already do this?
Wait, no. Hold on.
Yep.
Esports event, Evo.
Why?
Because it's great.
If it's great every year, you can't
Not
give
gonna
it away.
win,
It's
though.
not an award.
I know.
Yep.
There was stories about the International this year. more broadly.
Okay.
Sonic Fox's story was last year. We did the Sonic.
I
Sonic Fox
know,
is great. I love
he's
Sonic
great.
Fox. They're great.
They're great. Sorry.
I'm rooting. I am out here for Sonic Fox. But Sonic Fox won esports player of the year last year.
Yeah.
And Sonic Fox cannot carry Evo on their back. Esports coach of the year. Don't know anyone here. I like saying the word Zonic though. But again, if Danny Zonic Sorensen is problematic, I'm sorry. Content creator of the year, we've already voted for Ewok. Ewok? Choop Choop? Is that, what do they say? What do the Ewoks say? The Ewoks have some sort of thing that they say. What do the Ewoks say?
Nub nub?
Nub nub. Nub nub. Yub nub. Yub nub.
Yum, num.
That's what they say. Apex Legends, Destiny 2. This is for community support. Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Rainbow Six Siege. Cado, does Destiny 2, did it save itself this year in such a way that it makes the play?
I think so, because a lot of the things felt like, directly responding to a lot of long-standing complaints. It feels like they're moving in directions that community wants. So
yeah, audio design, Modern Warfare, Control, Death Stranding, Gears 5, Resident Evil 2, or Sekiro.
Control. I say Control.
I might say Death Stranding.
RE2 has such phenomenal audio.
It does.
I didn't
The
play
Mr.
that one,
X
so.
sequence alone is the best audio design I have experienced in a video game this year by far. I don't think it wins, but that's
where your heart is. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, Control is probably it though. It has Remedy always has really good audio design.
The thing is, I might give this next one to Control. Art direction, Control, Death Stranding, Grease, Sayonara Wild Hearts, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, or Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
Control.
Yeah, I think Control is probably what takes it. Yeah,
you don't think
that's probably right.
The game editors of the world vote for Death Stranding is like, it looked cool.
It did look cool.
But if they know what Control looks like, the Control is such a...
Do they know what Control looks like?
I feel like they should.
Think about how that game sold. I know IGN just gave it its Game of the Year,
yeah.
Which caused some waves. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm going to back up. Art direction presented by Samsung QLED. This Q shit's getting too far. Action adventure game of the year for the best action adventure game combining combat
presented
with
by QAnon.
Yeah, exactly. Borderlands 3, Control, Death Stranding, RE2, Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Basically the same list as those last couple of games.
It's probably Control. I think Control is actually gonna. I think Control is gonna do very well.
I might give this to RE2.
Is this? Hold on. Is Sekiro?
So would I.
I feel like this is what Sekiro can take.
I would. Ooh, you know what? Yeah.
Right.
I don't think it's going to do any good. I think it's not going to win. I don't know that as many people like it the way you and I love it. You, me, and Emmanuel are like the Sekiro Defense Force. I agree. We agree. We understand
because it's not going to take. It's not going to take Game of the Year, and that's the only other category it's in.
It was inherently more alienating than like even previous versions of these games.
Yeah.
So
I also
like the people it connects with, it connects extremely hard. Yeah. But it's purposely designed to have even more people bounce off it than even other FromSoft stuff.
I again also don't understand why it's here while let's say Metro Exodus is in action game. I know that it's not the shooter category, and Metro Exodus certainly has puzzle solving and inventory shit. You know?
Yeah.
Anyway. These categories are weird. Apex is
action
game. Apex Legends, Astral Chain, Modern Warfare, DMC 5, Gears 5, and Metro Exodus. I feel like this is Modern Warfare again, probably.
Oh, really?
People like that game.
DMC 5, what a fucking good game.
Yeah, people like that a lot.
Like people,
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's a really, really good game. Has a great, goofy-ass story, super fun characters. Like DMC 5.
Yeah.
Put that on Game Pass so more people can play it.
Game of the Year, Control, Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and The Outer Worlds. I have a theory here.
Yeah.
I think it's The Outer Worlds.
Huh.
Because of when people had to vote for these awards.
Yep.
People were in
and it's a game that you feel really good about, as I've mentioned on previous podcasts, like in the moment, and then you feel less great about it the distance you get from it. I'm with you. What'd you say?
What moment?
I'm not saying that's but like the way people talk, I'm just saying like that's how that is one of those games.
Right.
Yeah. Well, if you track the discourse, and I'm sure you've played a game where like you felt great in the moment and then the distance you got, it fades. So I think it's just one of those games that can get a lot of awards this award season, and then people will reconsider it a year from now and go, So, yeah, I'm with you, Austin. I actually think that's a good theory. Smash gets screwed in the same way Jedi Fallen Order gets screwed, in which the way the Game Awards works is that it has an arbitrary cutoff because of its air date, and games that are released after a certain time are qualified for next year, but good luck to a game qualifying the year after it was released, because most people are going to have forgotten it by then. And video games, unlike other mediums, have a very specific period in which they release their games, which includes November.
I don't think a non-story fighting game could take Game of the Year ever.
Nah. Smash wouldn't have won it last year.
Yeah,
if it was.
Yeah.
I think Control's got a decent shot at this one too.
I feel like Death Stranding will happen before Control does.
I just think if we're thinking about critics, I just think people liked Death Stranding, but people didn't stan Death Stranding. And like Control is more of like I stand Control than
right.
I mean, I won't be. Look, would I also be shocked if like Death Stranding took a bunch of these and were wrong? Right. But I don't know. I feel like the IGN Control gives me like I'm putting my finger in the wind sort of moment of like maybe that was a game that people were harder on than maybe I would have given it to before.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's Death Stranding, though. I think the Death Stranding discourse around this is going to be so interesting to see based on how many awards it wins and how people feel. Mm-hmm. People are gonna catch feelings if Death Stranding ends up winning a bunch of awards because of how buddy Keighley and Kojima are. And the way the voting is supposed to work should be very clear. It should actually predispose. I'm surprised Death Stranding was nominated this much based on when these nominations were due in. Because they were due in like immediately after that game came out. Like before wider, I guess they sent a lot of code. So I guess it's possible.
They sent a lot of code. Yeah. Like they were basically like not quite like candy, but like they gave it to a lot of people. Like even, us, Games had access to Vice, had access to like 4 copies of that game. Yeah. So which is what EA didn't do with Jedi Fallen Order, right? Like they waited to the last possible second to get that.
Right, like that game is not on here at all, but should be, but isn't because it's past the nomination date. I don't know. But also all of these are a combination of like press plus fan vote. So who the fuck knows?
Correct. So
wait, the fan vote isn't a separate thing?
No.
Oh, okay.
There is also player's voice, which is like Game of the Year, but for only from the players. You have 41 minutes left to vote. The current Player's Choice or Player's Voice Award nominees are Death Stranding, Fire Emblem 3 Houses, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, or Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Damn. 3 Houses.
Oh, 3 Houses is winning at 45%.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with memes. Memes will beat the shit out of you, boy. Memes will take you outside. God damn. Do you like Brother Nature?
They don't even need to go outside.
They don't. All right. I think that's our podcast. I don't think we have time to do anything else.
No.
We've devoted as much time as we could to 2 topics that 90% of our audience doesn't care about. Mechwarrior and the Keigleys.
Oh, hey. Our audience will hate. Well, they will hate watch the Keigleys. Come on, let's be clear.
Hell yeah. I only wish we could stream them along with you, audience. I hope everyone has a good weekend. Any other final notes here as we ride off into the sunset and we move into one of the final weeks of the year? I don't think so. Is there any other news that we have to hit or any other like shout outs? I don't think so.
No. Oh, we should mention this here because I know that, Cado, you're going to mention it on Twitter. But as a teaser for some of the the framework of some of the podcasts that we did for the holidays, which involve a time component to them, limiting the discourse as much as one is able to limit the discourse of a Waypoint podcast. Next Wednesday, we're going to be recording that next Friday's podcast, and we're going to do, the holiday hot takes, which is basically just like, we haven't decided what the timing is, but let's just say 90 seconds. Like, ask us a question in which we could explore a topic in 90 seconds, and we're going to time it. We're going to have a buzzer, and we're going to move through like a bunch of those. So send in your questions and think of them conceptually as something that we could unpack or dare us to unpack in 90 seconds.
Where should people send those, Patrick?
Gamingadvice.com.
Gamingadvice.com.
The topic, holiday hot takes.
Holiday hot takes. I'll send a picture here. This is Jeremy Corbyn's cat. Jeremy Corbyn's cat's name is Cado. Shout outs to Cado. True gamer.
Wow.
As a
El Gato Roboto was a great game from 2019.
Boris Johnson has a dog named Dylan, spelled Dilyn. So fuck out of here. I don't like that. Cado. Put Cado in the prime minister chair on Downing Street. What's the number?
221.
10 Downing Street.
Why did you say 221? What?
Because that's Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
Right.
Address.
Oh my God.
It's the only British address Cado knows, perhaps.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
Unlike the
definitely.
two that I know.
Right, the other one you know is number 10.
Rob knows 100% more than Cado.
God. Wow. Yeah, when you add it up like that.
God damn.
We have to know one more British address.
Whereas
The Palace.
Trafalgar Square.
Piccadilly.
That's not a
Piccadilly
Circus.
Circus.
Stonehenge.
those are locations.
1 Piccadilly
Oh, it's
Circus.
where the
443
demons dwell.
Stonehenge Avenue.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Our address
street-
again, gamingadvice.com. It's a river. You can't just put that on a package. That's not going to show up.
The
Could you?
Thames.
Where would it go?
I don't know. I could tell some people to take things straight to the Thames.
With you,
Oh, yeah. Send that.
Tories, straight to the Thames. Yeah, got it. All right. That is going to do it for us. Gamingadvice.com is our email address. Cado laughing until he coughs. Are you okay?
Yeah.
I hope you're all right.
I'm fine.
As always, shout outs to Bowen for letting us use the track Miss You off the EP Panel Machine. Find out more about that. Waypoint.zone/BOEN. I forgot. I'm just going to admit it. I forgot. Follow me on Twitter at Austin_Walker. Cado, how about you? Follow Cado, who's like, I'm fine.
Wherever you hear a cough, just keep going in that direction.
If there's a
You'll find
cough that blends into a laugh, ideally.
At _Cado_ appears.
Patrick.
him. Patrick Klepek.
Rob.
At Rob Zachney.
We'll be back next week for more. Are y'all going to do that spoiler cast? You guys going to do your... We also have to record a different spoiler cast next week at some point, so we'll figure out that stuff.
What?
What? What do you mean, what? You
We have
this-
like 3 days next. What is... Oh, we need to talk about this.
Yeah, we do. That's our job.
We do.
We got to talk.
You're
So we'll
correct.
talk when we hang up this call and figure out the rest of our schedule. I hope that you figure out your own schedule this weekend. I hope everyone has a good day. I hope everyone survives the UK elections. I know that this stuff is stressful. By the time you're hearing this, many of those election results will have probably come in. I guess it depends on what time this goes out. But good luck to everyone. And
Hope everyone survives the UK elections except the Tory government.
yeah, I would prefer that they don't. I would prefer that the Lib Dems don't try to stitch things up with the Tories this time. Anyway, that's going to do it for us. Fuck capitalism. Go home. But go to the polls first if you're in the UK. But except not now, because if you're hearing this now,
No, that's what. Yeah, you probably can't get
you
in line.
can't. It's Friday, so delete this whole podcast, Cado. Just burn it all. Fuck this podcast. Go home.
I don't know. I thought that was a fun podcast.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was fine.
It was fine. let's time that is and do a podcast about video games. You want to do 5 after?
Digital games.
Sure.
Okay.
I may have to dip out very briefly. There's some guy looking at the furnace just as a maintenance thing. So if I disappear, that's because he knocked on my door.
Are we throwing in this episode to Your Life is Strange?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll
just
go
take
a break.
Yeah, we'll
and
do
come
this
back from the break.
Yes.
We'll blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah.